Welcome, How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That right there is Akil Ladera, and I'm Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream, but we already have a couple of great early birds in the chat. They go by the name of Fat Figure. Yes, I see you, sir. You are number one. But in a respectable number two comes in Sharif's mom in the chat there, numero dos. We also got Darwin. We got Success is Inevitable. I do love that name, by the way. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls. Charon. We got Tanner Braun. Callum Mitchell Miller, thank you very much for joining us today. And we got the Sofa Monster. I see you, sir. We got Big Kyle Burdett, my man. Shout out to you. I hope you had a great weekend. I don't have my stream deck open for whatever reason, so I can't hit the bangs. There we go. Now we got him. All right. Now we got Eddie R. We got D-Loaf. We got Trading PE. We got Sixto. We got Nice Skin. Aft is there as well. Trader Drew. Bebot 5000. Jamar T. Zamelik. What's up, Zamelik? Bora Hout. We got Andrew Chow. Bob Dub. Fox. Elon, Rock Doc, Isaac Roberts, and the Gauntlet. Good morning, Adara.
Good morning. How are you this fine, shortened week, Monday?
I've been required to take many coffees in today because I just don't have the energy. I don't know what's going on,
One of those days.
Maybe Monday. That's probably it. How it goes with you? What do you got on tap there? I see a whole bunch of lines coming up again.
We already took an L, but you know what? That means literally all we can go is up. I am still in the sim today. I'm gonna try to have some convos and get out of this during this week, as I've said. So we're gonna have to see how this goes. I want to see how my Monday goes, because I've noticed my Mondays are usually my weakest day. Maybe it's just getting back into the swing of things, if you will. But yeah, Nvidia. We tried to take this. I'm proud of my risk management for this, though. I want to preface it with that. Gotten short to 960 because I liked that we had this kind of earlier area of support. It looks like it could have been resistance. I watched, we had a little bit of a battle there. I get involved and they're like, nah, we're gonna give up the battle, give up the ghost to use the Sharifism to the upside. I was planning on giving this $1.50 because it's Nvidia. You can give it a little wiggle room. Into this earlier area where we had some chop and churn. We held that and we went above it and I said, I'm out. So I'm okay with the risk management. We took a pretty small position. Not great, but not too shabby either. I'm not going to be too hard on it. Also, thank you so much to UV, the great hip-hop recording artist. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Not seeing any message here, just the chat. So thank you very much for your support. Happy to see everybody up here on this Monday. Hopefully, it should be a good one.
Yes, ma'am. And we are talking about a good lesson topic this week, guys. We are talking about breakout trades. Last week, we talked all about pullback trades and all the variants thereof. We're going to be talking about breakout trades, and you guessed it, all the variants thereof as well. Today, we're going to start off with my favorite, support and resistance breakouts. Kind of builds on the support and resistance pullback topic we talked about last week. So let's get right to it, baby. So do you ever feel stuck in traffic only to burst free onto a clear highway? Kind of a loaded question. That's similar to how support and resistance breakouts work in the trading world. Let's talk a little bit about that. So understanding support and resistance, let's just explain what that is real quick for the noobs out there and who don't know exactly what we are talking about. So imagine a tug of war between buyers, which are, colloquially called bulls, and sellers, which are called bears in the trading world. Support is a price level where buyers tend to step in, pushing the price back up. Resistance, conversely, is where sellers see an opportunity to take profits and they drive the price back down. So support, usually you see it on the lower end of the chart, and resistance, top end of the chart there, okay? So these levels create what we call price zones on a chart. And here is a great example. Thank you for adding that in, Adara. So on the top left, you see the resistance and support zones. If you have the middle line over here is kind of your break even. We bounce off it multiple times only to reject off the resistance area. Same thing there for support. You're on the lower end of the zone and then you're rejecting off the resistance. And what this shows is that the tendency for a previous area of resistance to act as support and a previous area of support to act as resistance once it is broken on a closing basis. And so you'll see over here on the bottom right, corner, this is actual price action. These are bar charts. Oh, what are these? Sorry. Yeah, and then you'll be able to see the resistance of the top end of 500 there, and then about 460 to the downside, bouncing off each successive touch. So how do you spot these breakouts, right? Because that's what we want to do. We want to know about them so that we can trade them. So a breakout occurs when the price decisively moves through either a support or resistance level. A bullish breakout, though, by definition, is when the price closes above a key resistance level, which is indicating that the buyers are winning that tug of war with sellers, and it also potentially indicates that the price could be looking at a future move to the high side. Conversely, a bearish breakout sees the price close below support. Notice how I keep saying the word close here with emphasis, right? We're not looking for a quick wick above that level and then a retracement south, or a quick wick below that level and a retracement north. We are looking for the price to close. Now, if you're trading on a 5-minute chart, it'll be a 5-minute close. If you're trading on a daily chart, it'll be a daily close. That's what you're looking for there. So spotting the breakouts, we look for bullish closing prints above support. For bearish, we're looking for closing prints below resistance, okay? And this is another perfect example of a bullish breakout there. You have multiple touches at the $65 level on the daily chart, and then you get the decided break there. It looks like in July of whatever year, you break up, you get rid of that, you clear that 65, you make your way up to 71. Lo and behold, though, you make it back down to 65, and you seem to find support there. That comes back to that phenomenon we talked about earlier about resistance acting as support and vice versa, okay? Always look for that in the chart. If you're able to ID a clear level of support and resistance, know in the future it may act as the opposite at one point in time. And here is an example of a bearish breakout. You have an upper trend line. Each successive retracement holds onto that trend line, but then you give up the ghost. This looks like the NQ, I'm assuming. Yeah, this is definitely the NQ. And then you get a decisive break here. It looks like in mid to early May. And then funny enough, again, you come back and test that level, that resistance line, and you reject. So this is a little tidbit for you guys. For those who draw resistance lines on your chart, extend them as far over as you can, especially the ones that show up on the daily, the 4-hour, the weekly. You'll be surprised how many times they come into play again. So they may not look like they're in play now because the price action has gotten so away from them. But if it does come back, you'd be surprised how it acts as support and resistance. I'm talking about previously relevant trend lines that you have drawn on your chart. Extend them all the way if you're able to. I know my program automatically extends the trend line for me in the angle that I've drawn it. So I don't know if yours does that or not. If it does, take note of that and use it. All right, so making your move, cautiously that is. So breakouts can be powerful signals, but there's a catch. False breakouts can happen, and we talked a little bit about that last week. Price might flirt with a level, but then reverse. Here's how to be a little skeptical. First, volume confirmation, right? You want to look for the breakout to be accompanied with above average volume. That could be above average for the name of it, for the actual name that you're trading, or it could be above average given how much that name has done lately in terms of volume. So you're looking for a surge in trading volume alongside the breakout. High volume suggests more conviction behind the price move. But you're also looking for candle confirmation. That week we did on candlestick patterns will definitely help you in that regard. Shout out to Frank Jones. Frank Jones and I were talking this morning in the chat. He wants us to do another week on candlestick patterns. We might take him up on that offer soon. Shout out to you, Frank. So look for candle confirmation. Watch for a daily or weekly candle closing clearly above that resistance line for my bulls or that support line for my bears. So what you're looking for is more confirmation on the wider time frame. Are you seeing that with a close on the daily or weekly? If you are, then it makes your position a little bit more, I don't want to say more likely, but it makes it a little bit more tenable. So keep that in mind. There's an example here Again, thanks to Adara, you were consolidating, I don't know for how many months, from like say mid-March all the way into early August, late July there. Then you break through with the viciousness, as Adara likes to say. And look at that, on above average volume. Look at that green candle on the volume bar down here. That stands out from all the others. So the breakout happened on above average volume. And you don't need to go into the 5-year. What's a 5-year volume average for this name? No, look around. Is there a volume bar that coincides with the breakout that stands above all the rest? If there is, you're good to go. You don't have to look at all the nitty-gritty, right? This is a perfect example on AMD. Wow, AMD used to be in the 70s. I do actually remember that. So how do you enter and exit these trades? What is the technique? So once you've confirmed the breakout, so you've defined your support and resistance levels, you know that support level, that resistance level was valid because it got so many touches on the daily or 4-hour, weekly, or whatever you're looking at it. So now how do you get in? So once you've confirmed the breakout, here are some entry and exit strategies. So your entry. Some traders might enter right after the breakout. So if it breaks 200 on Apple, I'm punching in. I'm not actually going to do that. I'm just saying. Some others don't want to have that. Let me take it on the breakout strategy. What they want is that break of 200 on Apple to happen, and they want it to come back and test 200 on Apple, because they want to know that that is going to be a good level of support. So some traders will say, no, I'll take that breakout right at 200. Some others will say, no, let that 200 come back in once it's maybe gone to 210 or so, and then I want that 200 to hold up, and then I'll take it long. Obviously, there is good and bad to both strategies. The good with the first one is you get a better price. The bad, obviously, is that it could be a fake out. The good with the second strategy is obviously you're waiting for that 200 level to prove itself. The bad is you get a worse price. You're not going to get right at that 200. You're going to get 203 or whatever. So that is one technique for your entry. Okay? Your stop loss, though, very important as well. How do you protect yourself and risk manage? So always place a stop loss order to limit potential losses. For breakouts, consider placing it below the support level for the bullish trade or above the resistance level for that bearish trade, okay? And then your profit target. Taking profits equally as important as getting into a trade. Otherwise, what is the point of the trade? Look for potential resistance levels for the bullish breakout. So above 200, we know it's a blue sky setup on Apple. It's never been above 200, so it's going to be tough to do there. But for example, if you broke above 300, say on Caterpillar, and then you came back and you broke below 300, well, you know you have like where I think the latest price Caterpillar got to is like 360 something. You know you have that 360 something area. So if you took that long, say 320 on Caterpillar, you know that 360 something level is going to be that area of resistance. So for your long trades, if not a blue sky setup, look for that next key level of resistance to take profit. If it's a short trade, look for that lower area of support to take profit there, or maybe hold a piece for the dream. Don't take the entire thing out at that level. Okay? And remember, breakouts are signals. They are not guarantees, right? Always do your research, manage your risk, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. And here's a little bit bonus tip. Other technical indicators along support and resistance for a more comprehensive trading strategy, like we talked about. That divergence trade, whether you're using RSI or MACD, can help add that next level to your trade so you can have that more confirmatory signal. Thank you for adding those in, Adara. Wow, AMD's on the way up.
AM
182. Jeez.
It's a nice look for AMD. Also, Scuba Scoots, I really like this name, saying Tilray picking up volume is a breakout possible. So why not take a look here for Scuba Scoots? So, yeah, I'm not, let me see here. Is this on the, I don't know if you're meaning like the daily or I'll go look at the intraday here just in case. Yeah, so we're in sort of a range here below VWAP. We are down in the day. What's interesting to me too, we talked about support and resistance and how support can become resistance and vice versa. This was earlier support in the pre, clearly becoming resistance here at 225. I'm not seeing a ton of picking up volume. I'm seeing like a couple, errant volume candles here. But yeah, I think honestly, we'll kind of have to wait and see what we do. I think we're trying to right now curl above that 225. But yeah, I would say like, I think honestly this one could go either direction. I say that because we are still down on the day, right? So we do have this attempt to curl above 225. We have had some positive news here on these cannabis-related names with regards to the partial legalization in Germany coming last week. So I think, I think it could be a break to the upside, but I'm not seeing a ton of volume to support that. I see what you mean, though. There are a couple stronger candles coming in. But yeah, I would say with this one, you don't want to diagnose a breakout before it comes to fruition, right? So I would say with Tilray, wait and see, but I would be very cognizant of what we do at this 225 level. But yeah, thank you for delivering that message there, Sharif. What are you looking at today?
I am looking right now at Amazon. It was really strong earlier. It was going up, like not even up and to the right, just straight up there off the bell. It made its way up to 181, minus 1 penny. So technically the high a day on AMZN is 180.99. We have a nice retracement into 179.50 as we can see there, which is right at the volume weighted average price. We just made it back up to that's incorrect. Where is that level there? 179.65. So I'm looking to see here, is this a dead cat bounce off VWAP on Amazon? Because it was awfully strong. Now it's only, well, I don't want to say it's only 0.43. It is the second strongest Mag 7 name on the day. Second strongest Mag 7 name on the day, second only to NVDA, which is up 1.86. Netflix is up as well, 0.08%. So Amazon, the strongest of the bunch, I want to say here, except obviously for NVIDIA. So I want to see what it does at the volume weighted average price. Does it hold at these levels or not? We'll look maybe to get long on AMZN, maybe for another 181 test. The market made close to daily high there. I think the IB high, where was the IB high there at 8:30? No. So the after the bell high was 18,541. We just got back up into 18,541 on the future, on the NQ June contract. So I'm trying to keep tabs here, see what the future is up to, so we could try to weasel one of these Mag 7 name trades. But I'll pack my patience. We'll see what we get here. Now, let's talk about some of these small cap gappers because we haven't talked about any. There's a couple going here. Ooh. So Grow Generation is the one that I was looking at. GRWG having itself a day, 15.25%. We traded CGC very effectively on Friday. So weed continuing to be strong here. This one is holding the 10-period EMA awfully well. I'm talking about GRWG. All the retracements subsequent to about say 10:15 have bounced off the 10-period moving average and none have closed below. So that is something to take note of here. But there are times where the range per candle gets a little wide for this name, about 10 pennies or so. So keep that in mind when you are placing your stop. MNY has now broken below the volume weighted average price. So that's no longer tradable for me. We'll keep eyes on that, see if it becomes tradable again. XTLB, same thing. This one was up nicely on the day. I think it went 80 some odd percent, got up to $5, minus 1 penny, 4.99 HOD. But this one, like its other siblings, broke down below the volume weighted average price, so it's not tradable for me. And guys, when you see this a lot, when you open up, when you have 4 or 5 different small cap gappers on your charts or your scanner, and the majority of them are breaking down and trading below VWAP, you kind of get the idea of where we are here in kind of the swing of things for these small cap gappers. Remember how Holo started a whole bunch that were printing above triple digits, 100 plus? I feel like that's kind of come and gone, and the ones that are strong earlier are not really keeping their strength after the bell. They're all breaking down below the volume weighted average price. So we'll keep eyes on it. We'll see if we get anything there. RDDT, Reddit, continuing to be strong here. Ooh. Above $50 a Dara. Did a nice little dip there into 48.5. This one would have bamboozled you, because if you were looking to take the VWAP dip, you got bamboozled, because this one broke down almost $1 below VWAP. And then if you were looking for that not pre-market, but that early area range at that $48, looking to take that dip trade into there, you didn't get it, because it dipped only into 48.75. So this one, I would not have known how to trade this one. All my levels would not have triggered on Reddit. So I bet you anything, if I had traded this, I would have been red on it. We'll see. Maybe we can figure out a different trade. Breaking through $51 now. HOD 52.25. So this one looking to possibly take that high day. A bit of a double top there on the 5 on Reddit. And then I just discovered this one today. Coinbase, so strong. What a monster Coinbase is. But you don't have to trade the $300 name or whatever it's at right now. CONL. So remember that NVDL trade that we had on the NVIDIA derivative? Well, Coinbase now has its own derivative, baby. Can't just be outdone by NVIDIA like that. CONL, nice move up today. Closed out at 72 bucks Friday. On its way to 87 today. 86.80 is HOD. It also has been holding that 10 EMA like a dang glove. So we'll have to see if this one can break down. It's trying to hold above 85 at the moment. Great day for CONL, up 18.1%. That is the Coinbase derivative. CYTO, another small cap gapper that showed up on my name, and another one that's breaking down below the volume weighted average price, untradeable for me unless you're looking to go short here. 350 or thereabouts, 349 HOD on CYTO, but that doesn't really matter. Now we're breaking down about a buck lower at 259, well below the volume weighted average price. So all these small cap gappers looking to give back the ghost here, or give up the ghost, I should say. We'll see if we can weasel any trades on any of these names. I'll keep tabs on some other names as well, like Boeing, and some of these names that caught upgrades and downgrades today, like Rivian, Lucid, and the like.
Yeah, there's been so many names to talk about, so thank you for going over those. And also, yeah, I totally agree with what you had to say about the small caps there. I am not really a small cap trader myself, but you know, when I do the small cap recap, you notice trends, right? Like, and as Sharif alluded to, there was an era, or not even alluded to, you just stated, there was an era where we had these 100% small cap runners running all day, running for days on end. Now it's a lot of these little smaller moves that kind of give up, as you said, give up the ghost in the early afternoon or even by the time the bell rings. So I think that's certainly really worth noting as well, and I think certainly something to keep an eye on if you are a small cap trader. And it's something I've also been more cognizant of since sitting here at this desk, the way that these small caps kind of have trends and ebbs and flows. So just an interesting note there. The position board seems to be down, but I have been in some trades I want to chat about. This Microsoft was a bit of a mixed performance for me. The initial plan was to go long here because I like this little rangy area. Long 424.40, take it out 424.70-ish, just shy of 425 and continue to reload. That didn't end up happening, but that's okay. You wait, you live, you learn. Tried it again here when we got to VWAP. I only got part filled, so the move, I didn't get as many shares out as obviously as I wanted because I didn't have as many shares in to begin with. That's okay, though. We did take about 20 pennies on that move in the sim, so I'm not gonna, we're gonna dance in the dime club. And then again, I took this long off VWAP. I am recognizing, though, that I think the time in this long is getting really short-lived. We continue to reject off this 9 EMA. I have a pretty small position. I'm getting out if we break below 424.10 because that area has been pretty rock solid. We haven't really sunk below. That being said, though, the profit taking is going to be just above 423.30. Initial plan was 423.40, so we took out these shares earlier, but I do not think Microsoft has that much more to give me. I think Microsoft is getting a little bit stingy here, so I might have to be a little bit, play hardball with Microsoft here and be like, nah, got to get out early. So that's the look on M to the S to the F to the T. Also, NVIDIA. I mentioned earlier, NVIDIA got me down a little bit, punched me in the face, and I was like, you know what, NVIDIA? No. This trade looks really cool when you have it on the chart. But so I got involved here. I guess this was a doji candle. I got involved in the bottom of this wick because that was the area I went short earlier. We held it up pretty well. Took it actually at the top of the candle, so I was pretty proud of how this turned out. Got about $1 here on N to the V to the D to the A. Now we're breaking down. I don't have much of a rate on this. It looks a little bit compressed, so I'm gonna have to wait and see what happens. Last trade to go over here. Yeah, I've been trading a lot apparently this morning. Only 25 minutes in, so lots of stuff happening. The SPY here. Shout out to Kyle Burdett mentioning this range on the SPY. I wanted to take a little more on this. We did accidentally, shockingly, I fat fingered. I know this is plot twist of the century. I did have a fat finger trade, so I wanted to take it up until like 40s, which I don't even know if we would have gotten, but I was interested in this kind of 40s area. We fat fingered out, took about 5 pennies, and then I wanted to get back in, but we weren't at 70s, but I wasn't able to get filled, so that's okay. C'est la vie. You move on, you live, you learn, and hopefully you get out of Microsoft before Microsoft does a little bit of face slap action. How are you doing over here?
I'm in Apple looking for a VWAP dip. Kind of ranging between the volume weighted average price and the 50 period on the day. My line in the sand is going to be the break of 170. So this one will have to hold above that 170 area for me to stay involved with it. There we go. Just gotta put the stop in. There we go. All right. I promised I'd look at OCGN, so let's go ahead and do that. So OccuGen also showed up on my scanner today, so let's have a look at that. So OccuGen, by the way, about a half a billion dollar market cap, so it's not really a small cap gapper. It also has quite a large float, about a quarter of a billion shares, about 250 million shares there for OCGN. I don't know what the catalyst is. There it is. Okay. So OccuGen are trading higher. The stock is trading higher, potentially on upward momentum after the Third Circuit Court of Appeals last week upheld the decision of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania to dismiss with prejudice the consolidated securities class action suit against OccuGen. With prejudice means that they're going to get costs against the person who's suing them. So that's pretty good. They could recoup their legal fees there, which is interesting. It also could mean that there was bad faith in the lawsuit, like so you do it just to hurt them, not because you actually have a legal cause. So that's interesting to watch. So they'll get more money there if that holds up. OCGN though holding up nicely at these levels, I gotta say. Look at this, up and to the right, but you know the range per candle is a little wide, especially for a $1 or $2.02 name. And what I mean by that is if you're trying to look at an average range per candle of 5 or 6 pennies, you have these outliers here that are about 10 or 15. So you're gonna have to account for those if you're gonna place your stop somewhere strategic. Otherwise, you just may find yourself getting triggered. It's also breaking through these indicators. With wicks, not on a closing basis. Specifically, what I'm talking about is the volume weighted average price. It's held VWAP quite nicely since essentially the open, but you do have these aggressive wicks that do break through the volume weighted average price of the downside. And so if your stop is there, closing print or not, you're gonna get wicked out. So now, right now, it's trying to do that dance above $2. I would look for a defend of $2, and if not, the defend would be at 195 or 196. That's where VWAP is. I'd put my my out 1 or 2 pennies below the volume weighted average price. Again, I'd have to give it some room below VWAP because it has wicked through VWAP. So if you're looking defending 2, first of all, look to see if it holds 2, because it's been fighting with 2 now for how long? About half an hour or so, actually longer than that. It's broken above 2 and then retraced down. So it's going on an hour now of a fight with $2. So that's a bit of a tougher look. Number 2, if it does break below the $2 area, keep your eye at 196, 195. That's where VWAP is. I'll keep eyes on OCGN. Definitely presents us with possible trading opportunities today. Grow Generation, though, just touched the volume weighted average price. Or no, sorry, correction. Just touched the 20 period and then shot right back up, forming this hammer candle. That is the first time we've actually touched a 20 period at any point since the open. So that's interesting, and especially how it just got bought up that aggressively. So like that trade that we had on CGC where we waited for that retracement into the 20 period despite the fact that it had been holding the 10 period the entire morning. Is this going to be the first type of trade? Because it's doing the same thing, right? It held the 10 period all morning, and this is the first touch at the 20, right? Now, we're not talking about much distance here between the 20 and the 10. We're talking about 3 pennies. So we'll keep eyes on Grow Generation. Weed's been strong lately. It's an election year, so this could be very interesting to see what we get with weed. All right, let's go back to AAPL. We were like nicely about, say it again? MSOS is moving, says the Chilean Nightmare. So let's have a look at MSOS. Yeah, I mean, it's up, but right now it's a little consolidated. Fabian trading below the VWAP at 950, but good call. We'll keep eyes on MSOS. Definitely all the weed has been in play since last week, so we'll keep eyes on that. Eyes on Apple right now. We're long 18s. Bit of a consolidative area in front of VWAP here, looking for a curl up, maybe into the $0.50.
I like those little shorts earlier, though, in Apple.
Oh, yeah, they're decent. Yeah, they were not big, but it was a bit of a fight there with Apple. It did nothing, though. Yeah. It was hanging out at 170 or thereabouts all morning.
Yeah, I mean, Apple, I don't want to, start clowning on Apple this early, but it could be the dead one.
It is.
A little bit.
It's all good.
Pop, but yeah, for your sake, I hope it is not the dead one. I hope you say to Apple, no, no, no. But yeah, so good luck on that. Right now, we're about to maybe get filled in Stressla, and I already am kind of like, what are you doing with your life, Adara? I want that 90 MA bounce. I like this whole idea of these higher highs, higher lows. This is a bit of consolidative top, though, in retrospect. I'm honestly going to be watching what we do in the 80s here. I'm keeping this extremely tight risk-reward wise because I'm aware of the relative potential risk on this. I'm going to take some profit at 35s because I know we can get that on Tesla. So we're going to do 33s because it's me. Then we're going to save a piece for the dream in VWAP. But much like always in Tesla, we sleep with one eye open and these dreams are short-lived. So we're going to have to see what happens here on T to the S to the L to the A. Also, Microsoft might win a prize for being the most bamboozling stock I've been involved with today. And I've not been involved in that many today, mind you, so maybe I'm being a bit too hard on Microsoft. But look at this. I said I was going to get out here at 30s because we were really having a hard time here. I get out at 25s because I was like, we're not going to make 30s. We did like 5 cents on this. Then Microsoft's like, jokes. Trying to break now above 425. So congrats to you, Microsoft. Congrats in all seriousness to anyone long Microsoft. We're all here for you. Good look on that. This is just, I'm going to stay away from this because I think if I get involved now, it's going to be a revenge trade or it's going to be me trying to be like getting the moves that Microsoft didn't give earlier. And just because we have that pop, who knows if this pop's going to stay.
I just want to show people something here on the tape. Yeah. Come to my screen quickly, please. So, okay, see these trades on Apple that are coming in just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That is an algo, and it is searching for liquidity. By putting out those orders for one share, one share, one share, it's looking to see where someone could be standing in front of it. It's testing out liquidity. When you see that, this is an algo that often runs on Apple. See how it's all coming in one share, one share, one share. Again, this is a liquidity tester algo. You don't know really what the intentions of it are, whether it's looking to do something, nefarious, maybe looking to push you up and then bring you back down. But I want to point out that to everybody, when it comes in just a one share, one share, one share like that, see how all the greens are coming in 1, 1, 1? Yeah, that's an interesting algo. I just wanted to point that out there.
Yeah, no, thank you for putting that and going over that. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I would like to learn a little bit more about how the algos move, so it's something I want to keep an eye on. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Tesla, we did get a beak wetter. The beak is damp here on Tesla. Thank you. Yeah, we got. I was really happy. This ended up kind of being bottom wick on the 3-minute candle, so I was actually pleasantly surprised by that because that is not something that happens very often for me. But we got involved here in the 9 EMA. We ended up getting some out at that 170, 133. And now this might seem arbitrary, but I like my previous areas of resistance. Look at this pop we got earlier around the same area. So that was why I was interested in taking out some profit here. I want to take out the rest before VWAP because I do not trust Tesla. As I've said, you sleep with your eye open. You can really get thrown around here in the Roadster and the Cybertruck, what have you. And, I don't want to end up staying in this trade and then being, asking myself, Model Y. Why did we stay when you could have just taken everything out, right? So we are holding this 170, 130 very interestingly. I thought this was going to be more of like an Adara support resistance level, but it looks like it might just be an actual support resistance level that Tesla is interested in. So, do your thing, 21, Tesla. But, if we can make it to VWAP, I would be pleased as punch. If not, I might add a little bit if we come back and retest that 171. But yeah, just hanging out in this trade, trying to chill, be chill as a villain. Also, Sebastian earlier was mentioning ESPR, saying that we would like this ticker and the message. And I see what you mean. This is a heart disease focused company. Esperion Therapeutics. This one, the FDA had approved its broad labels for Nexletol and Nexlizet to prevent heart attacks and cardiovascular procedures, regardless of statin use. So interesting look there. The stock, though, was a little bit, I think, harder. And the biggest thing I see is look at this resistance at 274. This is a big area of support earlier on this one. And I would even argue a pseudo flat bottom break. Maybe we were up on the day, but look at this. We have these slightly higher lows, slightly higher lower highs, and then this flat bottom here. We break below. We come back and we curl up and we do this kind of stutter step to the upside, but then we hit 274 again, and Esperion's like, nah, we fall back below. Now we're not even having this beautiful dance along the 9 EMA that we were having earlier. So if you're involved in this, one thing I would say to look for, and again, not advice, just my take on the chart, is we talked about this last week, how support and resistance can flip. So if you're looking along an indicator like the VWAP and the 9 EMA and you're holding it as a support area, watch if it flips to resistance. That could be a sign of a potential change in sentiment. So that's something I would keep my eye on. Also, the float for this does not suggest a massive squeeze or anything, and I say that because shares, the pretty decent amount of shares here, 168 million shares, 10% of that is going to be short. So just keep an eye on that. I want to take a look at that for Sebastian. But yeah, I think the message of that is really good, of course. Heart disease related focus, so some really nice look there. But yeah, the stock itself, I don't have a great read on beyond that 274 rejection. Nice volume though, about 14 million, and we always love a small cap stock with a positive message and nice volume. Also, we're out of the Cybertruck, so we can breathe a little bit more easily, which is always fun. Also, I like this Apple VWAP hold. I don't want to copy your style in terms of trades, but I do. You're right, this is kind of rangy. I heard you mention range earlier, and my ears perked up. Every time someone says range around me, I'm like, but this is interesting.
I mean, the bottom could drop off. We know there's a negative catalyst to it on the day.
It's also
the
Apple.
European Union is broke. They're looking for anybody who can take money. They can take money from. I mean, it's funny. It's a little bit, they've never run a company in their lives, but they're willing to tell you how to run yours. No. This is not how you do it. Let us tell you how to do it. We know what we're doing. So that's kind of how I feel about that. Let's leave Apple alone. Let's talk about ZURA. So this one just shown up here on my scanner. A bit of a retracement now, but it's still doing well on the day. About 5 million shares, a $2.69 name. Couple of topping tail candles though on the 5-minute look. So it looks as if that move into 3 has been met with a lot of selling, and now that's precipitated a bit of a down move into that $0.75 area. The shorts were having a time here with ZURA at $3. These are some aggressive topping tail candles hanging out at the 10-period EMA right now. I'll have to wait for this to come into a key level of support. I'm talking about 250 or break above $3 for me to get involved with this name. At the moment, it's kind of in no man's land, so not going to take a trade on it, but I want to mention it because it's a small cap gapper and it's moving. So the deets, $117 million market cap, and the float, not huge, not small, about 20.2 million share float. So a bit on the smaller end there, and that could precipitate some decent moves. Now, I got to tell you, this one sold off aggressively on Friday. It doesn't have a definable pre-market high that we could take, but that's okay. That's just one of many other rules. The other rule is it has to be above the volume weighted average price, which right now is trading at $2, which is at $2.82. We came back. It looks as if to break above that low or the high that we had on Friday, $2.89 there in the pre, and we're rejecting off that level. So it seems as if that's acting as a bit of a resistance level at the moment. So we'll keep eyes on that. We'll see what's up with these names. Let's see what else is popping off here. OCGN still above the volume weighted average price. So we'll see if we can get anything on that. Apple, still doing nothing here, about 5 pennies or 10 pennies in the money. Kyle Burdett, AMD short 182. Shout out to you, Kyle. Big Kyle Burdett taking that bad boy short 182.59 HOD on AMD. We're going to wish Kyle good luck. Mr. Long Shorts, daily looks awful on Zura in my opinion. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And usually the daily does look quite bad on these small cap gappers. That's why we trade them intraday and we don't hold them for a while. Let's have a look at what he's talking about here because I didn't even look at the daily. I know this stock though. I mean, I've heard its name. So it's a former runner. That's all we can really, that's all we really need to look at the daily for. Know that it is a former mover. And by former runner, I'm talking about, it's up big on the day and then, gives up everything, which is fine, right? That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. As long as we know who it is and we can trade it that way, right? So we don't hold it for a swing. We use tight stops, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's been rejecting off the 50 period every day from the south side, so it's not a good look daily, but we'll see if it presents us opportunity for an intraday look. Man, Reddit continues to go here. I think there's obviously resistance on Reddit at 5150. All the closing prints have been closing south of 5150. You got a couple of wicks through that took you to 52.25. But look at all the closing prints, all south of 51.5. Bit of an unusual area to have resistance, but that's fine. We don't choose the area. We just trade it. The only other confluence area that I can see with this 5150 takes us back, I think, to opening day, and at around 145 or 2. We had a bit of a resistance top there. On Friday, we had resistance at 51. So that's interesting. So we'll keep eyes on Reddit. It looks great today to trade. I gotta be honest with you, 10.75%. Nothing to sneeze at there.
Yeah, this certainly lots of this Reddit. It was a crazy move, and I think it's interesting too. And I like that you say that. We don't choose where the stocks have support and resistance levels. And I think that's why it's interesting. Sometimes stocks will take, you know, a really arbitrary level and glom onto it. So Tesla, a good example here, I was saying I chose that level for the first part of my position to leave on Tesla, that 171.33, which is such an arbitrary level, but I liked it because we did have this area here that we kind of popped into earlier and then rejected from. However, you can't really see it on the 3-minute here, but we did kind of, you know, take a little bit of a pause at this level. We had a little bit of jogging in place. So for whatever reason, you know, sometimes these levels can actually be of more significance than they seem like they're being. That, you know, that in mind, I want to see what Tesla does here at VWAP. I think this could be interesting. Shall we reverse? Shall we continue to go long? Either way, I think I might hop back into this vehicle. So shout out to Joanna Brewster saying that she did well on this long here printing. So congrats to you. I also did hop back into the SPY because I spied a little bit of rejection there at that 570.60 area. I'm going to watch if we break above 520.80s. I am outie. I cannot be here anymore. I don't love my point of entry on this. This is one thing I've been saying maybe ad nauseum the last couple weeks. The biggest thing I'm working on is my directions and my point of entries. So if I could get better at that, that's of course the biggest hurdle I think I'd like to climb over. Not saying that that's the only hurdle. There are lots of hurdles I'm still trying to climb over. But to me, the whole waiting to get it on the back end, as Neil says, that's one of the biggest ones for me. And then with that as mind as well, because I feel like my entry points aren't as good, then I'll leave the trade too early. So it's about getting that timing just right. Right now, though, I don't really have a reason to leave this. We have not made a higher high. If we stay involved, which we hope we do, no hopium, just we hope the chart will allow us to stay here. And if so, we're going to try to aim for 520.40s. Shout out again to Kyle Burdett for like pointing out the nice little range on this one, because the SPY has been very choppy, and that's the kind of stuff that I like to trade. So let's see, we might get chopped out here of the SPY, but right now we are still here. How is the bite of the apple?
Yeah,
there?
we just took a beak wetter there at 30, so pleased. We'll see, Adair, if it can make it up into that 50 penny area. Ideally, though, it makes it back up into 2/3 of a dollar, maybe even 3/4, and I'll be even more pleased there. Dan the Man Emmons, SMCI up 9.7%. Dan, I think this is the first time that you've ever tagged me with anything other than the futures trade. Shout out to you, Dan. Yes, Dan, I see it, baby. I see it. Back above $1,000. We're trading at 1,066. Let's bring it. So I've done a couple of things here, Dara, and these side charts now, you see these tabs at the bottom over here?
Oh!
So look at this. Now we can have a full semis, all the semis. We got all the smoke
I like
in one
this.
area.
You don't want it anymore, now you have it.
I have small dreams, Adara. Very small dreams, and this right here is.
I'm happy for you.
I'm
you
kidding.
achieved what you wanted to do. There
right?
You go.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, seriously though, let's talk a little bit this. Micron is an absolute rocket. Oh my goodness, this chart. Look at this thing, bro. We were at $109. Lobby's looking at it and laughing on the screen over there. Yeah, bro, this is ridiculous. We were at $109 to open up the morning or thereabouts. We just broke through 121 like it doesn't even matter. I mean, Jensen did this company a favor when he put that huge H100 GPU on his kitchen table, looking like he was going to cut that bad boy up, like he was about to butcher that thing. But no, he wasn't. He was showing you what the next trade was, as Obi likes to say. No, in all seriousness, though, Micron, an absolute rocket. I don't know personally how to trade this. It's not coming into any levels that I could have said, been like, okay, good. This is a nice dip trade right here on Micron. Let me get long. It's been, giving you a couple of micro pullbacks and these 3-minute red candle. 3 5-minute red candles over here, kind of an example of that. Maybe it's really holding that 10-period EMA, that's the green line. Any dips into the 10 EMA have all been bought up on the day. So good look. Right now, though, it's putting in one hell of an inverse hammer candle. That is ugly. If we get a closing print below that, that'll be an interesting possible short there. But like, even if I see one candle on here, and even if it's on the 5-minute, I don't think I'd want to stand in front of this monster without a tight stop, so we'll see. Trying to do the dance right now and maintain that price action above 121, but Micron awfully strong on the day. We'll keep eyes on that. Obviously, ARM as well was strong. There's some other names, SMCI, which was what Dan was mentioning. Let's look at Super Micro Computer. SMCI did also get an upgrade today. right?
They did.
They did.
Got
They
an
did.
upgrade with an 11.50 price target.
Thank you, Adair. 11.50 price target today from, I forget who it was anyway. The point is, they're up big. Another, not even up and to the right, more like an elevator rather than an escalator, kind of started its day at 972. Now we're $100 higher at 1,072. So SMCI, really good name now. Obviously, with respect to a day trade, it is a bit harder to trade because it's awfully spready. So we'll keep eyes on that. We'll keep mentioning it to you guys. Apple trade so far so good. We just broke through 40, so about whatever, 20 some odd pennies in the money, looking for that maybe 50 move. And if we really get lucky, Adara, we'll get that 70 move. Let's see what people are talking about over here. Hugo, can you please take a look at GDHG, possible runner? Let me just have a look at what that looked. GDHG, Golden Haven Group Holdings. All right, the 1.85 million shares on the day. It's up 11.5%. It's a 50 penny name. I got to tell you, I'm probably going to stay away from this just because of the amount of volume and the chart pattern. Yeah, so I'm going to stay away from this. I don't typically trade anything less than $1 anyway. And if I do, it's usually around 85 pennies because that's when it shows up on my scanner. I'm going to have to respectfully decline to look at this, Hugo, but thank you for pointing that out. Here comes the $0.50 on Apple. Pleased as dang punch that we got this trade. Now it's about whether we take it out here at 50 pennies or we look to the higher lows and we start gunning for that higher high. Do we get greedy here, Adara, or do we take it out here? I'm not putting you on the spot. That's just kind of what I'm asking myself.
Yeah, no.
Right. So we got higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and you got a couple of higher highs. You're not getting aggressive higher highs. You know it's a negative catalyst. You know it's been slow the entire morning. So I'm just going to let this one go, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Adam Duluth, best hold that Apple to 171.09. I like the way you think, Adam. I'm not going to lie. I like the way you think. I'm going to hold this one, see where it goes. If whatever happens, happens. Odyssey Fights, options on MU. I personally don't have options on MU, and I'm not that good of an options trader, if at all. So maybe you'll have to wait till the big kahunas come on to ask them about that, because I gotta tell you, I put it on my thing to do for this year. Remember,
Yeah, I remember. You're
resolutions,
that
and I still haven't done it. But hey, still a lot more time left.
The year is young.
Yeah.
You still have 9 months. So yeah, no, honestly, don't beat yourself up. We always more time here as well. So
We have Danielle Shea too. So anybody who wants her to ask about the micron option, she's going to be on with Sean today.
Yes, yeah. Also, yeah, like I honestly like listening to Danielle Shea while she talks with Sean, and then also in the afternoon show is honestly really invaluable. Like I'll always kind of note like what direction she thinks things will go on earnings.
Yeah.
And oftentimes 100% correct. Like I know Oracle, she called upside because she was like, oh, they've had a couple misses, and then yeah, Oracle beats and kills it on earnings. So nice look there. Definitely a lot of insight and valuable knowledge. So definitely check her out. Also, I remember once, Sharif, you said that you didn't like being short some of these NQ names and long, or short some of these Mag 7s and long the NQ or vice versa. I'm feeling that after taking a SPY short and taking a Magatech name long. We had the SPY short, honestly, you know, like I'm trying to learn, as long as you have a game plan, you execute it appropriately, you can't be too upset about the L. So we got out at 520.80s. C'est la vie, where's the next trade? I'm actually currently in the next trade, which is Tesla. Now, this Tesla is taking a while to get cooking here, but I liked this area here. Same area I liked earlier, albeit at kind of a worse price point. This 170, 139 probably should have kept for 179.30s, or 171.30, sorry, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, potato, tomato, what have you. Took this a little bit more size, going to take it out again right at VWAP. So always looking for these ranges and these opportunities to play them. That being said, too, this SPY, I got out because we got above that 520.80, but we can't really hold above 520.80. So if I can get back into that short with a better price basis, why not? We're going to see, though, here, Tesla just trying to hang on here to the wheels of the Cybertruck. Also, this Microsoft, kind of a nice little stutter step to the upside with the bottom being this 9 EMA. I tried to get back involved in this around 420.50s. Not a revenge trade, because I know I mentioned earlier I was a little bit angry at Microsoft. Not a revenge trade, just a planned long. But alas, things did not go according to plan. We're not able to get back as low as I wanted us to. So we're going to have to see what happens there. Potato. Mostly just keeping an eye. Babysitting Tesla, as Tesla often requires that little bit of TLC. But NVIDIA too, I'm keeping an eye on. Speaking of very difficult bamboozling Mag 7 names, I like this area here. I don't really know what we're doing below this 9 EMA, but we are doing something. This 958 area had some kind of a chokehold on this stock. So I would even consider going 958 a short to 957, but I haven't looked at the book long enough to make any calls on this. I've mentioned this as well. One of the biggest things I like to do with NVIDIA is stare at the book so long my eyes bleed, and then you have a decision because you know how it's moving, you know what levels it's clinging on to. So that's really my call here. Also, Tesla dipping. I might have to get out of Tesla. But yeah, to answer your question that I just saw here, Hans Beer, should we dare to short NVIDIA? I mean, again, just my take. I think NVIDIA does look like it's trying to curl off a little bit here, fall off, what have you, at the 958 area. I would be scalping it, so we're going to have to see what happens. I think that time might have come and gone, but also maybe coming and going is my Tesla long. So if we recover here at this 170-120, I will stay in. If not, we will be hopping out of the Cybertruck with a viciousness and not in a fun way. How are you doing?
Good. Out of Apple
Nice.
at 170 and 2/3. For now, it's top wick, but that's probably going to get broken soon because it looks like Apple is putting in higher lows. And if we can break above that 170 and 3/4, it will be higher highs. But if it goes down from here on in, I won't feel bad because then I'll feel like I've gotten top wick. So long 170.18 took everything out 170.63 on AAPL. Now we look to the next trade. And I'm liking Reddit. Let me explain why I'm liking Reddit at these levels and what has to happen for me to get in. So let's go into RDDT here, up almost 11%. So now we have this aggressive retracement off what we can say is a general vicinity VWAP hold. I know it was not a strict VWAP hold. I know the close was below VWAP. I know it wicked below VWAP. It only looks like it bounced out VWAP. That's not what I'm trying to get to. What I'm trying to look at here is that 5150 break and take, okay? Yes, I want to start using that line, break and take.
Break and take.
Yeah. Why I say break and take, Adara, is because you need to break that level and then you need to take the level on a closing basis. And we kept talking about that 5150 being a level of resistance here on the closing prints. It acted up again. Now, if this one can make its way up above that $0.50 level and start showing me 51 3/4, 52, well then there's a good chance we're going to want all the smoke, right? We're going to want that 5150 break and take hold, and then we'll look to get long there. It's already strong on the day. We know that there are eyes on it because it just IPO'd last week. It was a very well received IPO by all accounts, especially when you compare it to some of the IPOs we had at the tail end of last year. I'm talking about ARM, I'm talking about Instacart, Klaviyo, Birkenstock. ARM obviously is a monster, but that more is a secular trend with chips than specifically, because it's an IPO. This one, though, is being received really well because it's the first one that we get for social media IPO since 2019, since Pinterest, this, that, and the other. So we'll keep eyes on this one. I definitely want a 51.5 break and take, and then we'll look to get long. So in fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put an alert because I may not have eyes on it, and I don't want it like last minute. I'm going to put it at 39. So breaks up into that 51.39. I want to have at least a little bit of a heads up, and we'll look to get long on Reddit. MNY making me look bad. We were smack talking MNY for being, I'm a here now, I'm not here later. Small cap gapper. Money Hero, apparently, is the name of this company. I do like the name, though, Money Hero. I want to be a money hero.
Right? And this stock is trying to be a money hero for some of these small cap gapper traders.
Right?
So, yeah, I like that.
MNY, Adara, it has about a $78 million market cap, and the float, it's very small. It's 9.3 million shares. It just broke above $2 and took VWAP like nobody's business, Ram, and it got up into that $2.50 area. You like how I talk to the chart like I'm explaining it to Ram. She has no idea what I'm talking about.
Right? No,
she doesn't care what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just for me to get her to know that I want her to look at the chart.
Look at this level,
it's been working
Ram.
quite well, actually,
yeah, no,
right?
It's pretty good. Pretty seamless.
Shout out to the Ram. Yeah, no, for real though. It broke above the volume weighted average price. It broke above $2. It's been having trouble. Let's be real about it. Look at all these topping tail candles. The first one here, tops in at 2, you reject. You come all the way down, break 170, come to 169. Then all of a sudden you're at $2.09. So this one, very wicky, very rangy. A bit tougher to trade. I'm kind of guessing that there's probably some people that have been stopped out on this thing just based upon the range per candle. So I'll look to get in, but it's got to show me what I need. And right now we're getting declining volume, even though we're popping a little bit here on this 1150 volume bar that almost at 500,000 shares. So we'll keep eyes on MNY. I think MNY could be an interesting trade. One thing we haven't talked about is crypto. Have you been seeing these crypto names lately? Oh my days. Okay. Let's have a look at our friend MARA because we got BPI behind us, so we could get BPI to opine quickly here on MARA. And you had a decent start here tomorrow. You got up to 22.52, but it has been consecutively lower highs and lower lows. It's been a downward channel. Let's be real about it. Look at this downward channel on MARA here since the bell rang there. So maybe some sort of range trade to be had on this downward move here on Mara. I say range trade and Adara looks over. I love it, right?
It's Pavlovian response.
It's a bit of a downward channel. That's kind of how I see it on Mara at the moment. So let's put in the ticker and keep eyes on this name because while crypto is definitely still in play here, and yeah, so BPI, what's your look on Mara today, my man? He says it's all muckery. He's not feeling it today. Fair? Is it fair? I like how you had to do Leafs Nation there, eh? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. What happened yesterday, Patty? I turned on, they're losing to Carolina?
Yeah,
back-to-backs, yeah. Okay, Patty. But
they played the best player in the world.
They played the best player in the world, and they smashed him because they played Edmonton, right? Yeah, because what's his name? Yeah, Connor McDavid, thank you. All right, so it looks like as if I look bad on Apple here, and I kind of suspected I'd look a little bit bad on Apple, Adair, because now we broke through that 2/3 high, and looks like we're making a local high here. Looks like we're on our way to 171. I should have listened to Arsenal Adam. It's my mistake I didn't listen to Arsenal Adam. He told me what level it was at. I got excited, I took it out. Shout out to Arsenal Adam.
But you did still get, you had some peak winners, you had some profits. You are still a money hero. Because I know you wanted to be a money hero. I would say you are still a money hero in my book. In all seriousness.
MNY is the only money hero, Dara. We just play for seconds here.
Yeah. I mean, anyone else who's a money hero will always be the money sidekick to MNY, the true money hero. Yeah, sorry for that. I just thought I wanted to do that.
All good.
Took this SPY short, and we took about less pennies than I wanted to, about 5 to 6 pennies. The initial plan was to go for 520.65 because I noticed we are having some higher lows. We weren't able to get that, but my point of entry on this was better. So we're learning and we're growing trade by trade. And with that in mind, I really want to answer this question from David Stadler. How do you mention your quantity? How do you manage your quantity on a second try? Thanks. Yeah, thank you for asking. I think my thing is too, and this has really helped me, is trying not to think about it as my second try in the stock. And I say that because I think if I go into a name, let's say I go into a name and I had a winning trade on it, and then I decide, oh, well, I'm going to take more shares with it because we did well the first time. That doesn't always work, right? Because each setup is going to be different. So I try to look at my quantity regardless of how I've done in the stock that day, just based on how confident I feel in the trade. So I'm gonna go to Tesla on this. Both of these, Tesla, I usually don't take like too many shares. I've been pretty upfront about that. I have smaller share sizes. But with that in mind, I will take different quantities depending on my level of confidence in the trade. So this Tesla trade, I really did like this 90 MA hold. So I took a decent amount of shares here, and I took the same amount the second time because I still liked the same kind of idea, the hold of the 90 MA, and especially the second long entering at this level that we got some of the shares out the first time, right? So resistance and support, having this little dance. But I think maybe a clearer example would be NVIDIA. I took less shares on this first trade, A, because it was my first trade of the day, and B, because it was NVIDIA. So I did want to be very cognizant of the bamboozlement that NVIDIA will always have. Case in point, this massive move to the downside here off that 956 fail. Shout out to Greg Moore for calling this short. I wanted to get involved, but by the time I kind of was considering entering this, we'd already fallen below. But shout out to you, Greg Moore. Hopefully you're printing on that and killing it. But yeah, back to this question of quantity. The second time though, I took more shares, not because I was trying to redeem myself, not because it was a revenge move, but because I liked the setup better. I noticed that we had this kind of waffling between that 960 and 961. So the area that I tried to take short and the area I tried to get out on, or get stopped out on, mind you, I wanted to use that as my motivation to go long here and get out there. So I hope that makes sense. I like to use my quantity, to make a long story short, less as, in relation to my past trades and more in relation to my confidence in the trade. Because I think when you try to use quantity because, you had a certain trade go badly, so you want to take less shares, or you had a trade go well, so you want to take more shares, that's what I find kind of messes me up a little bit. So I hope that answers your question. I think it was a really good question. Adam DeLu said, is that on a 3-minute? Tesla looking good, like Kyle Burdett said. Yeah, I think Tesla's interesting. I like this chop and turn around VWAP. I want to look at this tape a little bit longer, but I do think I like this whole area that we kind of had this chop and turn earlier, just around 172. Now we're failing 172. So I think either way, there could be some opportunities here on T to the S to the L to the A. I'm going to have to keep my eye out, though. Also, another time we get out of a SPY short and it continues to go lower. But you know what? That's not my problem. I'm out of the trade. Where's the next trade? I noticed too, Kyle Burdett was speaking about this, and I've noticed this as well. The massive amount of buying we have at 520.40, so I might even switch this up and go long 520.40. Might have missed that opportunity, but we're going to have to see what we see when we see it. I don't know what that means, but that's what we just said. So how are you doing over here? What are your next opportunities you're looking for? I'm still looking at Reddit, believe it or not. Not going to take the same trade that we talked about, that 51.5 breakout. Well, not yet anyway, because it's making its way back down. So we know for certain now, given that we've had trouble at this 51.5 level for 2 different days, that 51.5 is a real deal level on RDDT. What we choose to do with that information, an entirely different story. We can keep it in for today if we get a breakout or a rejection again at that level to look to get short, or we can save that for a different day when we come back into 51.5 if we reject it entirely today to look again for that level. So I'm leaving my my notification for that 51.5 approach just where it is, and I'm not going to cancel it. But the trade on Reddit could take a different form. It doesn't have to be a 51.5 break and take. It could be a VWAP dip. We know that generally we bounced off VWAP last time, so we're getting this double top looking, shape. We don't know exactly if it's going to be a double top. Especially, I would say we will not know until it comes back into at least 49.75 or thereabouts. That's where VWAP is hanging out. So for confirmation that the shape we're looking at is actually a double top, we need to break that middle part of the M, right? And this is the area that I'm talking about here. We have to give up the ghost at this level, right? That's kind of like, if you want to compare it to something, it's the neckline on the head and shoulders. So we know where the left shoulder ends, where the right shoulder ends, and we look for that break of the neckline before we get short on the head and shoulders or get long on the inverse head and shoulders. This is kind of that same area here, the middle part of the V on the double top. We'll wait to see, number one, does it make its way down into the volume weighted average price? If it does, great. But what I was looking at here, I'm like, okay, well, what's making you think it's going to get to VWAP? Last time, the closing prints bounced off the 20 period. Sure, we got a wick below the 20 period, but the closing prints all jived. The closing prints all jived with that 20 period. And we're doing the same thing again right here. We're at the 20 period and we're having trouble breaking. So not saying we're going to stop off here on our descent at the 20 period, but it is something to be cognizant about. If we do get support at the 20 period, then this could be a long. We may not necessarily make it down into the volume weighted average price and break 50, right? Especially in light of the fact that VWAP is south of 50 and 50s could be an important level here to trade. So not making any decisions, but I definitely want something on Reddit if I can get it, whether long or short. We'll have to wait and see. I think this is probably still a pay for shorts. Katina Man, you didn't try to take it. It is. Thank you. The Katina Man confirmed. It's like a set and a half. So we're talking negligible amounts here on RDDT. Yeah, if I can take 100, thank you, Katina Man. I appreciate that. Ram wants 100 shares short too. Get Ram 100. Yeah. Right? No, I'm kidding. We have to get them in blocks of 100, guys. The minimum we can get is 100. That's why I asked for 100. Not like I'm looking at punching short 100. I can use anything less than 100 here.
Just wanted to make that point.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good for me to learn too.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't something I knew that you bought them and I wasn't sure
on
how.
TMS, you don't have to get them. On SIM, when I say TMS, that means SIM, guys, right? And when our SIM, you don't have to pay for the shorts. If there are shorts available, you'll get it. It'll just automatically let you do it. But in the real deal, you got to get a manager like the Katina Man, like the Neil, like the Brendo, like Brenkels, the guy that was on with. It's a quarter of 1 cent. The Katina Man says.
There you go.
I'll take it, baby. 25 cents. 25 cents it cost me. What's up, Ram Ram? Allegedly, says Ram Ram, Bitcoin broke 70K. And it did, Ram Ram. HOD on BTC is $70,032 to be exact. Not trading there right now, but it did break it at exactly, I'll tell you when, 11:55. So right before the noon hour there, BTC breaking through 70,000. Look, guys, I don't have any Bitcoin. I'm not invested in any Bitcoin derivative, but I truly believe this thing hits 100,000 by the end of the year. And yeah, make of that what you will. So what are you looking at over there?
Yeah, I'm looking. I wish I had a better answer for you. We tried that SPY long, didn't work out. My point of entry here was bad. Talk about getting out bottom wick. Bit of a humbling out here. We're basically more or less flat on the day. We've had some nice trades. We've had some meh trades, and I think really just trying to make more profit on the good trades and take less L's on the bad trades.
Thanks, Sean.
So that's what's going to be my focus today. Thank you so much. Kevy82 asking, can you have a look at GME? I can, and I will. We have earnings tomorrow night for GameStop, so I suspect that will be a very lively night for the market recap show. Definitely check that out. Ooh, sorry for this is a nice look on GME. What do we do at 14.55? That's the question on everybody's mind, or at least the question on mine, and maybe also Kevy, who asked me about this. But yeah, this is interesting. We had this curl to the downside, slightly. We had this really nice kind of downward chop here, stutter step to the downside. We come back up, we pop into VWAP, fall back to the downside, but we make a higher low. Bless you, and then we continue to curl to the upside. So will we have a double top? Will we continue to see a pop? Apparently, I'm rhyming now, but yeah, I think 11% to the upside, certainly, a nice look for GME. Yeah, the only read on this is I think I like this higher low. I like this nice recovery we had at the bottom here, 1380. If you got long here, you are like, a cool 75 cents in the money. So congrats to you. Nice look there. We'll have to see if the game stops, though, at 14.55 for GameStop. Let's look at the daily chart. Yeah, this is interesting. We're trying to pop back up here. I like this earlier area of resistance, this 1460, 1455. I think breaking above that would be nice. I also think, though, this 1520 area would be more interesting to me. Look at this pop here in this massive top and tail candle, and also look at this top and turn we had at this area earlier. I like that 1520 area. I think that's something I would be looking at as we head into earnings tomorrow. So, yeah, also shout out to that Dumb Money movie. That was a really good movie, and it taught me a lot about that whole scandal. So, or not scandal, but that whole situation. So, if anyone's not really familiar with what happened there, really interesting film. Paul Dano kills it, and I think it really tells the story very well of what occurred here with the GME short squeeze. A lot of these short float names, though, having a nice look. Let's take a look at CVNA. The NOS boss, as we call him, Michael Noss, was talking about this one earlier. Oh, maybe this is like a short look, actually, for me right now. What am I saying? He was looking at it from a daily chart, but I do like on the intraday, look at these kind of stutter steps to the downside here in Carvana and these little lower lows. I don't mind this. Volume is a little less than 2 million, and this is just one I pulled up kind of arbitrarily, just in a short float basis, but I think this is an interesting look. I can't believe we're already 1 hour into how to trade, so it'll be interesting. I would look into make some more trades. Let's see how this occurs. SPY continuing to range without me. I need to work on my timing there, but yeah, like lots of stuff to be keeping our peepers on. I just want to update everybody on the Katina Man's trades, please. IBIT short, looking for that 70,000 rejection on BTC. Shout out to the Katina Man taking IBIT short. Also taking Intel short. We know what the headline today was with respect to Intel, AMD, and some of these other American chip makers. It looks like as if they will be blacked out of the Chinese market when it comes to Chinese government computers and servers. They didn't say anything specifically about the Chinese market as a whole, but you never know. This tit-for-tat exchange between East and West could continue here. So, don't rule anything out is what I'd say. So shout out to the Katina Man taking those bad boys short.
I wanted to mention one quick thing here before we start with the lesson. Again, it is now 10 afternoon. This look here. So I saw you take Tesla earlier, and we all saw what Tesla did right off the bell. It was the elevator, it wasn't the escalator, right? And then we saw the big V-shaped retracement down. But in that same way now, we're starting to see this U-shaped pattern, or roundy bottom, as Big Kyle Burdett likes to call them, or rounded bottoms as the more appropriately termed name, as the NOS boss likes to say. And it found support right at that 170 area. So I love when you have that, I don't want to call it predictable, because Tesla is almost anything but predictable. But on this day, 170 came into play, and we didn't get much of a break. In fact, I think we held up at that 169.5 for the wicks, but the closing prints all near 170. In addition to 170, it was also the pivot point, so there was nice confluence between pivots and the $10 level there. And all I see is TSLA now knocking on the door of 172.5, looking to take that level. It's at 172.25 now, above the volume weighted average price, above the close on Friday, which was 170 mid-80s or so, okay? HOD on TSLA at cool 175.24. That is owing to that big, huge move. It looks like somebody was adding there. Probably Aunt Kathy. No, I have no idea. You think so?
I think I remember seeing that she did, actually.
Did she add on?
In all seriousness, I know we joke
eh?
about Aunt Kathy, but I'm pretty sure that Aunt Kathy was making some additions. I know she got rid of some Coinbase, about $55.5 million worth. But Tesla, let my Benzinga load. Shout out, as always, to Benzinga. But I believe I remember seeing this morning that Kathy did add a little bit of Tesla to the ARC ETFs there.
That's cool.
If this loads, I will put it in the chat, but I'm about 90% sure I saw something like that this morning.
Thank you for that, Adair. Before I continue, sorry, I want to shout out Michelle Hebert, one of the OGs there in the chat, been with us for a very long time. Thanks for joining us again, Michelle. Always love having you around. And he is yelling about GME. He loves his GME and AMC. For as long as I've known Michelle, he likes Bitcoin, he likes GameStop, and he likes AMC, or like some category of those stocks. And he could not be more accurate on GameStop today. We're knocking on the door of 15 bucks. We just got up into 14 2/3. Very strong day today for GME. We closed out Friday in the low 13s. I believe it was around 13.10 or so. We're well above that. We are at day's highs as I speak right now. And Michelle was saying that there's a nice volume candle that just weaseled its way in. As you can see here, obviously the opening print volume, typically the highest of the day, and then, that's rivaled by the closing print volume. In the middle, usually we have a bit of a chasm between the high volume at 9:30 and the high volume at 4 o'clock. Well, we're picking up a little bit here. So now we're starting to do about 140,000 shares per 5-minute candle. And we just printed a new high, 1467 on GME. Keep your eye on this one, 1467 HOD right now on GME. We'll look to possibly trade this and some others once we get back done with the lesson. Let's load that up now. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Again, we're talking about breakout trades all week, guys. So we talked about pullback trades all week. Now we're talking about breakout trades. So today we're going to talk about support and resistance breakouts, which is one of my faves, especially on the daily, because it seems to have a very high hit rate. So have you ever felt stuck in traffic only to burst free on a clear highway? I can tell you, living off the 401, which is the biggest highway in Canada, I feel that a lot. Right, because then you're in traffic, and then you get onto the 401, and then you get to see what your car can really do, kind of thing, right? So that's similar to how support and resistance breakouts work in the trading world. So let's see exactly how we take care of that. So understanding support and resistance. So just for all the noobs out there, or if you're newer traders, support and resistance is essentially a tug of war between buyers and sellers. Buyers are the bulls, sellers are the bears. Support is a price level where buyers tend to step in and add more or get in initially, pushing the price back up. Conversely, resistance is where sellers see an opportunity to take profits, or the bears to short, driving the prices back down. These type of zones create these price action moves create zones on a price chart, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So just to put it, very clearly in a line chart format, you can see here initially we were ranging from, say, price A to price B, with a price A, the lower end of the blue line being support, the red being resistance. Funny how that changes, though. Once you're able to take resistance, it then seems to act as a support level. There is a reason for that. We're not going to get into that right now, but there is actually a reason. It's not just a phenomenon. There is mathematical reason why that's happening. The bottom right chart over here is exactly that chart reflected in real life, with 460 as that level of support and 560 as that level of resistance. I'm not sure exactly what chart that is, but that's really not important for these purposes. So keep eye on that. Now, spotting these breakouts. How do you find them before they actually happen? So a breakout occurs when the price decisively moves through either support or a resistance level. What we call a bullish breakout is when the price closes above resistance, right? We're looking for a closing print above resistance, indicating buyers are winning that tug of war with sellers and potentially signaling a continuation of that price increase, okay? Conversely, a bearish breakout is when the price closes below support, suggesting that sellers are gaining control, and it also could hint that the price could decrease from here on in, okay? So keep that in mind. We're looking for closing prints. Now, like we've always been saying, all the technical analysis stuff is fractal. What's up, Katina, man?
Yeah, keep that.
He's like, yeah, keep that in mind, baby. No, but seriously, all these technical analysis tidbits we're giving you are all fractal, which means that they work on whatever time frame you're observing them on. But keep in mind that the lower down on the time frame you go, so if you go down from a 4-hour to a 15-minute, that's going to increase its failure rate. And the lower you go, the higher the failure rate goes, okay? That's just want to put that out there so you can use it on whatever time frame you want. But yeah, let me just move it. It's the phone. You want it?
I think it's the binder.
It might be the binder. Actually, there's metal in the binder, so that could be. Do you want me to remove the binder?
Nah.
I like to pretend that I write my journal in it, but I actually don't. What'd you say, Ram Ram? Ram Ram's like, what if I'm a metal robot? Right? It could be interfering with me. Thanks, Ram Ram.
I like that logic. That's obviously the answer. That's what's happening. Yeah.
What if I have some titanium in me because I've done some surgery? My cousin has titanium in his ankles, and hey, you got the knee. I remember. Yeah, the Katina man told me about that. I already knew about that. Shout out to the. You don't beep. You don't beep through. Yeah, there's no titanium that beeps through the metal detectors. Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet, he says. No, but seriously, guys, we're talking about time frames being fractal. So if you're going to use these, obviously keep in mind the lower down the time frame you go, the higher the failure rate, okay? So here's an example of a bullish breakout. This is a great look on whatever chart, but you can clearly see here, there is resistance for whatever reason at 65. Every time you make it into 65, there seems to be that wall of sellers. That is that until July came around, they say sell in May and go away. Well, if you did that, you wouldn't have been able to get long here on this July 65 breakout, whatever this name is. I have no idea. But then it makes it up to 71, retraces a little bit. Lo and behold, it finds 65 as that level of support. How many times are we going to say this? Chart your support and resistance levels because you don't know when they're going to come into play again. Oftentimes, resistance does become support and vice versa. So, making your move, albeit cautiously. Let's talk a little bit about this. So breakouts can be powerful signals, but there's a catch. False breakouts, they talk about these false breakouts are horrible. Price might flirt with a level, then reverse. So here's how to be a little bit skeptical so we don't get bamboozled by the false breakouts. Look for volume confirmation with the breakout. Look for surge in trading volume alongside the breakout. High volume with the breakout can suggest more conviction behind the price move. So you see what Michelle just told us right now with respect to GME. He's like GME volume, right? I'm not saying what he said with respect to volume is accurate, but he's looking at the volume to confirm with the breakout level. So keep your eye on volume when you are looking for a breakout trade through resistance. Also, look for candle confirmation. Are we getting a daily close above that key resistance? For even more confirmation, and the way that Michael Moss usually charts, the weekly. Are we getting a weekly close above that level? If we are, that is an even bigger check mark that you can put beside its name, and that level will likely act as a level of support. So keep your eye on that. Look for candle confirmation to go with the volume that you're looking for on the breakout. All right, and this is another excellent example that Adara added. You have a very clear horizontal trend range here on our friend AMD. You have 50 to the downside, 57 for whatever reason to the top side. That was until, from say mid-March, that is until mid to late July. Then you break through, as she says, with the viciousness. But look at these volume candles down here. So you don't need to look at AMD's volume chart or volume on the last 5 years to know that this was an outlying day. Compare it to all the other days that are right in front of you. This is obviously outlying volume, no question about it. So look for volume as another confirmatory indicator for the breakout. So how do we enter and exit these trades? So once you've confirmed that there is in fact a breakout, here are some entry and exit strategies. So getting long. Some traders enter right after the breakout. So the example I used earlier was that 200 break on Apple. We know Apple hasn't broken 200. So what's the move here if Apple breaks 200? Are you getting long right at the break of 200? Some people would do that. Sure, they'll wait for that 200 to break and they'll punch long, or they'll have a resting order the other side 200. Some others will do a different strategy. They'll wait for a pullback, right? So they want Apple to clear 200 by some distance, maybe 205, 206, and then come back in and test 200, which we know was resistance. Now we want it as support. So they'll look to get long on that support. Now, it may not be right at 200. They want to watch to make sure 200 holds. So maybe they're getting at 202, 203. The point is there's a pro and a con for both strategy. The pro, for the initial one, getting long on the break of 200, you get a great price. The con, it might be a fake out. You might get bamboozled. With respect to the waiting for the pullback, you obviously, the good thing here is you're waiting to prove that 200 is a level of support. So that's the good. The bad is you don't get a good of a price. So keep that those two pieces in mind and figure out which way you want to go, because you got to choose one or the other. Stop loss. Always place a stop loss order to limit potential losses. For breakouts that are bullish, you're placing it below support. For a short, for a bearish trade, you're placing it above resistance. So you need to ID those key areas of support and resistance and place your stop above or below them, depending on whether you're going long or short. The same thing goes for your profit targets. If you're going long, say on a 180 hold on Apple, you may want to wet your beak into 200. We know for a fact 200's been a resistance level on Apple going back forever, right? So you could save a piece for the dream. If you're holding 100 shares, take out 90, let 10 run, whatever proportions you want to leave it, but look to take out the majority of the position. My suggestion to you would be look to take the majority of the position out in front of that key area of resistance. Same thing goes with 165 on Apple. We know 165 on Apple has been a support level as of late. So if you're going short at 200, you may want to look to cover the majority of your shorts in front of 165. So you have to ID key areas of support and resistance so you know, number one, where to place your stops and where to place your beak wetters, your profit takers, okay? Works both ways. And remember, breakouts are signals. They're not guarantees, right? Always do your research, manage your risk, and don't invest more money than you can lose. I still have friends that message me saying, should I get a second mortgage on my place to buy NVIDIA? No, I'm not kidding. I'm being serious.
That's scary.
Josh, I swear to God, I'm not even kidding. My answer is always the same. If you're going to borrow the money, then you can't afford to lose it. Only invest the money you can afford to lose. Hope that helps.
Yeah, that's like a very sobering reminder. And I just had my eyeballs bugging out on my head just because that is, I know you mentioned it before, but it's kind of shocking every time because, I understand there's a lot of potential, thrill of winning in the market, but also when you lose, that's going to hit you just as hard as the wins will hit you, if not harder. right? Like emotionally, it'll hit you harder. So I think that's a very sobering reminder, and thank you for
100%.
bringing that up.
If that's money you're borrowing and you're losing
and then you
that
have to
money,
pay it back.
So you not only you're getting rinsed on the trade, but then you got to pay the money that you borrowed that you got rinsed on. Ram says she knows a lot of people who did that, and by a lot she means 5. So look, Ram, I mean, I'm not saying nobody had ever made money borrowing and trading. They probably have. There's probably quite a few people, but what are the proportions? I have no idea, right? So.
Yeah, that's a lot. Also, Kanye is chiming in here and saying, I have a saying that I like. The money you need is cursed. Yeah, that's an interesting.
Oh,
interesting.
Very interesting.
That's deep. It definitely sticks with you. And then one thing as well I want to say too is, speaking of cursed, I have to talk about NVIDIA. And honestly, I won in this trade, but I can't really be proud of this trade because this was somehow saved. I was saved by a fat finger. Literally, I don't know how to describe it. So I'll just try to, I think the 1 minute might be clearer to explain this because, oh my gosh. So we got short here. I didn't mind the short. I got short at this 951 because this was an area that we had a little bit of chop and turn earlier. I watched a couple times. We couldn't hold it. Cool. We go short. We give it about $1. Then I start scalping it out as we get kind of into this 950 area, right? So we ended up getting out filled. I think we ended up getting everything out. It was all good. Then it turns out I actually still had an order ready. We ended up getting filled long 950. And I at first still think I'm in the short. I'm like, oh my gosh, Adara, what is happening to your life? Then I turn around, I look at the side, and it's like, oh, I'm up. So this was shocking. I immediately punched out. This is what you're supposed to do when you have these, when you have the fat finger moments, immediately punch out. So I did. Happy I'm out of the trade. But yeah, I just want to talk about this because I have to say I'm happy that this worked out. And the planned trade still did go well. So I can't be too pressed about it. But it is kind of sobering when you have a winner and it's literally purely a fat finger move. So I just wanted to be really upfront and honest about that. But we still have these 2 earlier shorts that were valid. We had this earlier long that was valid. So I'm trying to be, a nice even mix of not too hard on myself because we did have some W's. And also recognizing the fat-fingeredness of that last long. And I don't know if that's a word, but we tried. Also, this 951 hold in NVIDIA is interesting. I think there could be, $1 scalp opportunities. That was the area I initially went short and then accidentally went long, but it is holding very well here. That was also the area identified as previous resistance that could turn into support. So I do like this 951 long. I tried to go back into this 950 70s. We did not get filled, alas, because that could have been, a $1 plus winner, but that's okay. You focus on the next trade. You don't focus on the trade you just had. So I'm going to be ignoring what happening to NVIDIA because that was, it was a whole situation. It was a quagmire.
That's exactly what I've been saying.
Also, shout out to Hog Rider earlier mentioning Meta. Meta had this massive move up here. We had this, little pause here at 504 right below VWAP. Not ironically, but just also happened to be that area we had some chop and churn earlier. We pushed to the upside off the 9 EMA, and we had this nice pump. However, then we paused here at this earlier top at 506.70, and then we have this topping tail candle. Ooh. So this seems like a little bit of a resistance area, a pièce de résistance for our pal Meta. So this could be interesting. I don't like trading Meta, and I've said this, getting the old man finger out here, because I really dislike the book and the spread on this name. And honestly, I found it to the degree where you could have an area you like, you get in, then you get out because, the spread, it gets bamboozling or whatnot, and then the second you get out, it ends up being a valid trade. I find I lack the timing and the proficiency to trade Meta effectively. And if I really like a setup, mind you, I will take it. I don't let it scare me, but it's one that if I'm like if I feel pretty good about a setup, I'm not going to take Meta. I will only take Meta if I'm like, this is my setup. You know what I mean? So this is my setup moment for me for Meta. I'd like to see what we do with the 9 EMA, but that topping tail candle has me a skosh worried indeed. Also, Tesla still driving to the upside in its Cybertruck, taking these 9 EMA opportunities. I would consider going long here, but what kind of gives me pause is look at this. We had this green candle, then we were followed right away by this red candle. This could be, I don't want to say bearish engulfing because it's not engulfing, but there's certainly a little bit of bearish sentiment. The bears are growling here at the bulls. Roar! We don't want to go any further up. So at kind of a random level too, right? Not necessarily. We are at this earlier area of chop and churn, that 172.60. So I want to be very cognizant and see what we do here. That 171.30 to 171.60 was a fun area for me to play. Let's see if the 172.30 to 172.60 has the same kind of juice. How are you doing?
Yeah, Reddit's coming into my level, so I put a breakout trade. We'll see. I mean, I would have definitely liked to have it around 50 because it held 50 really well, and we were talking about it then. Well, it's all good. Yeah, I see it, Adam. Apple, HOD. A lot of people yelling about AAPL. 170.82 new high of day on Apple. Keep eyes on that as it's put in higher highs and higher lows with a bit of a flat top at that, let's just say 170 3/4 general area. Angelina, Sharif, I have a question. How can I know in volume the difference on quantity from 2 days or 1 day before and compare the difference with the actual day I'm looking at to know the difference? Okay, so here's what I'll say to you, Angelina, is you can do a number of things. One, the easiest way is to load up a chart, right? Let's have a look at Apple. And so what you can see is on the bottom of my chart, so this is the 15-minute look on AAPL, okay? And so what I want to show you is how you can compare a couple of days together. So look at the bottom over here. These are all the volume candles, and then you can see the quantity. So this volume candle over here on Friday was the closing print. That is the 4 p.m. close. And so we have a lot of volume initially at 9:30 and a lot of volume at 4 o'clock. Why? Because you have market on open orders, MOOs, and then market on close orders, MOCs, MOCs, okay? And a lot of institutions, they want to get long, they want to get short right at the open, right at the close. So what you're going to see is huge amounts of volumes initially and then finally. And then in the middle, we usually have a bit of a volume drought. That's not to say that that middle volume area is not important. No, it is very important, especially if you're looking for breakout trades, because we know the extremities of the day at 9:30 and 4 almost always going to be the higher. And we have in the middle is going to be a little bit lower, but they're not all created equal. What the middle part is on Wednesday could be absolutely different on Thursday. We could have way higher volume on Thursday. So that's what we need to look at. Case in point, look at this over here. This is Thursday's price action when we got that Department of Justice headline that they're going to take Apple to court. And we had huge big down move. Now look at the volume midday, not on the extremities, Angelina, okay? Not the 9:30 and the 4. Look at the volume midday. Now compare that to the Friday volume. The midday volume on Apple on Thursday was well higher than the midday volume on Apple on Friday. And so you could just do an easy cursory review of the volume on the actual chart. Now you could dig a little bit deeper and you could do a more thorough volume analysis by paying for some other software that will show you volume on the day, volume by the hour, et cetera, et cetera. But I would say to you, you don't need to do all that. You can just do it like I've just shown you here, right? Look at the volume using the volume bars on whatever time frame you want, the 15, the half, the hourly, whatever you want to intake. So that's how I would say to do it there, okay? And if you're looking for that, like what I was talking about, the breakout confirmed by above average volume, you can do it on this way as well, because you'll look at the 5-minute look, you look at what the breakout candle is, compare that to all the other candles that it's printed that day, aside obviously from that IB high, the initial balance open, right? Because that's always going to be higher, almost always, right? So we'll keep eyes on that. Now, I've set up a breakout trade for RDDT through the break of the HOD. So if we get break of HOD here on RDDT, looks like I am going to get long. Again, I'm kind of disappointed in myself for not having taken this at 50. It was a $10 level. It's a $50 level. You know, I could have given it a couple of shekels below VWAP. Anyway, whatever. We'll see. Maybe we can get a second trade here on RDDT. What I have to tell you is I see a higher low. So that's why I feel a little bit, you know, not too bad about getting in this trade midday and having missed my level at 50, because we see progressively higher lows. So the bulls, at least for now, are in control, or so it seems. So we'll look to re-up on that trade. Adara.
Yeah, I think the bulls are still in control a little bit there on the RDDT. But you're right, that's a really interesting top level that we keep kind of coming up.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
I secured shorts. The Katina man got me shorts for Reddit. So if it goes the other way, I mean, I wouldn't be so inclined to want to stand in front of a monster that's up 12%. But if the short is there, the short is there.
Right, and I see what you mean too, because there's a clear level too off which is short. It's not like just arbitrarily throwing
no
things. So yeah, no, nice look there. I was just curious. I wanted to,
Yeah, fair.
talk about that one. But yeah, I need to stop staring at Nvidia. That's just a statement. But someone earlier too in the chat, I believe it was the boring man, saying, if there's enough fat fingers, maybe that's not the problem. And that is something I want to work on. I will say, over the last couple of weeks, I have been less fat fingery. For lack of a better term, we've been doing it less. So I'm pretty proud of that. Today was a little bit rough. We had that fat finger out of the SPY too early, and then we had this whole Nvidia scenario, which only turned out positively in pure luck, which is never what you want to hear when you're trading or say when you're trading. So just wanted to be upfront about that. But yeah, I have to say, as a whole, I have been having less fat fingers. So I do want to be proud of that in general, but just today, that was not the case. Also, that NVIDIA 951 pop was massive. I'm kind of upset I wasn't punching in for all of the staring I've been doing at the stock, so that's definitely an L on my part. Shout out to KC in the chat earlier saying, yeah, NVIDIA could get this pop here up into VWAP and then go above VWAP, be aware of the lunchtime buyers. I think that's a very accurate statement, and I think could be really interesting. Caputi, electronic music producer, thought on BA. Yeah, I can totally take a look at that. Let's see which direction we're flying. What's the flight pattern here on Boeing? I drew lines on it earlier, so clearly I do have some thoughts on it. My thoughts on it are, we had this massive, actually I saw another area I like. So we had this pseudo double top on this, this is the wrong direction. I want my horizontal line. That's cool. We had this pseudo double top. We touched this area twice here, more or less, around that, just shy of 197. And the first time we get there, we had this topping tail candle. Certainly an interesting look. So we fall to the downside. We kind of end up consolidating here just around 190s, a little bit of chop and churn. We fall lower. We make a new low at 189.50. Then we start curling back up and we start riding this 90 MA to the upside. So I think this could be an interesting look. I also like, too, that we have a little bit of a bounce here. I didn't draw it very well, but around this 190, 160 area, which is also where we had a little bit of a trouble getting above, and it's also coincides with VWAP. So confluence in nation here on Boeing. I think it's, lots of confluence, lots of areas continuing to kind of flow together. I think in terms of potential profit takers or areas we might pause on our rally. Beyond, I want to see what we do at VWAP. I want to see us make a higher high here at 192.20-esque. Then I want to see what we do at 193.75. That might be a skosh ambitious. However, I keep drawing these lines in the wrong direction. I say that because I do like that we had this earlier kind of, stutter step here, this chop and turn at pre-market. Coincidentally, this is right when the news came out that Dave Calhoun was going to be stepping down as CEO. So this was the first kind of prints we started getting when we had the catalyst. So I think if we can get there and eclipse that, I think that could be a nice little level for BA. Let's see how far it continues to fly. Tesla, still really strong. I definitely missed that range play. I think I was worried we were kind of curling down at that 172.30, which is why I didn't get involved. If you see that little red candle here. Now Tesla's like, yeah, I'm going to keep pushing to the upside. So keep Cybertrucking on is Tesla. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. I'm a little upset that I missed that. I love Sharif coming back here and laughing. It always makes me feel nice. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, this NVIDIA 951 long, very upset at myself for missing that, being a little bit too skittish. As Sean says, a scared trader is an efficient trader, and I'm trying to be a little bit less scared. Also, check out the podcast with Sean and Brendan over the weekend. This was a really good one. They're always great, getting better every weekend. You'll get to see lots of fun little caveats and side conversations as well between Sean and Brendan. So always funny and always very insightful is the weekend podcast.
I like it. I happen to agree very much. GME, let's keep eyes on this one. Let's not let it off the hook here, not like we've taken a trade on. Bringing in the side chart real quick. GameStop having itself a day, and we didn't even look to see what the catalyst was. At least
earnings tomorrow night.
Thank you. Okay, Q4 results coming in tomorrow night. Eek. Another, I don't know how to feel about this. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys think that this company can make a resurgence? Or, is this going to be, are they condemned? Because everything is going to be online now, right? What I'm seeing is you don't even have to download a game anymore. What I'm hearing is the future is you're streaming games in the way that you're streaming movies. So you're playing a game and you don't even have to download it onto your actual system. So if that's the case, then we're leaving this company by two. Not only are we not buying DVDs or hard copies of the games, we're not even downloading the games anymore. We're streaming playing the games. So I don't know how I feel about this company unless they can change something fundamentally. Let's talk about the technicals though. So coming into the 10-period moving average, Ram, and the thing is though, this has a high of 1458, okay? So we know for a fact that this was a level of resistance. Whether you're looking at the closing prints of the wicks, we know that this was a resistance level. Now, we've cleared it, not by some distance, but by, say, 30 pennies or so. Now, when we come back to it, are we going to hold up here in the way that we saw with that AMD example in the lesson, where we held support, or we held resistance, then used previous resistance as support? That's what I want to find out here. So there is a bit of confluence almost between the 10 period and this crest over here. So I want to see if we hold up at this level, whether we start curling back up and then getting it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say. We'll see if this one presents us with that opportunity. Yeah, so that is the one we'll keep an eye on there. GME. What was this? Easy Trader says, I get my PS5 games online. Easy Trader, you may not even have to do that anymore, man. From what I'm reading and for what I'm seeing on television is that you just may be able to stream the game without downloading it entirely. So, you know, that's what I'm trying to say to you. This might be like 2 steps ahead of what GME is already doing. The boring man, GME will report their first profit after some time after hours. Okay. So I didn't know that you knew that what they were going to report, but that's cool. If they report a profit, all the power to them, man. I'm not hoping that they do poorly. I just telling you exactly how I feel that market is going. Now let's get back to Reddit. We'll see if GME holds up at these levels and starts curling. I'll let you guys know. But Reddit, I've got eyes on RDDT Ram because this one is coming right back into that 51.5 level. I've already put my breakout resting order there. If it breaks out through that level, we're going to get long. It's put in 4 consecutively higher lows. So if you want to take that initial bottom right there at 46, that's your first low. Then at 48.80, that's your second low. And then at 50, that's your third. And now we just put in a 4th trough over here at 50.60. $50.60. Who keeps texting me, bro? You're going to go on silent. That's it. Now you're on Do Not Disturb. 50.60, and if we break that, sorry, 50.50, if we break that level, I'll get triggered long. So we'll keep eyes on this one to see what is going on. Let's look at the big, the Mag 7 names, because we've been kind of neglecting, by we, I mean me, some of these Mag 7 names on the day. And there's probably a good reason for that. I want to say, for the exception of Tesla, they're all quite consolidative. Well, Apple's also putting in higher lows. So let's not disrespect the dead one on the day, right? Keeps putting in higher lows, 160.45 LOD on AAPL, and 170.82 is the high, but we've been having a lot of touches at that HOD on AAPL, so we'll see if we can break through and get somewhere maybe into that 172 range. We'll keep eyes on that wall. We'll have to break 171 first. But Tesla is recovering here, guys. 173 just went on Tesla. The high of days, 175.25. We just broke through with the viciousness, as Adara likes to say there. Look at that. And that was a bamboozling candle. It broke down quite nicely below like the 4 or 5 candles preceding it, held 172, and now we're at 173. So the bamboozlement is going to remain, I guess, the status quo on Tesla until something changes. Anyway, making an attempt right now to take, let's just say, resistance level 1 here on pivots. But that's all the way at 174.50. We'll have to see how Tesla does, but looks the most bullish right now, chart pattern-wise, not percentage-wise, chart pattern-wise. And it is percentage-wise now the number 1. Okay, so just NVIDIA breaking down into that 950 area, and that's helped break it down below 1% on the day. So now Tesla is the winner in Mag 7 world, up 1.25, owing to this nice curl back. So yeah, we'll keep eyes on TSLA. Maybe it presents us. Now we're long RDDT. So here comes the madness. We broke 51.46, so let's see if we can get that continuation there.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope that Reddit will kill it. Reddit and forget it. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good pun here, and I can't. But in all seriousness, nice look there on RDDT. Yeah, no, I think
Josh liked that.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear that. Nice. Happy to hear it. Hopefully your trading is going well there, Josh. But yeah, NVIDIA, I like these. I've just been trying to be scalp city over here in NVIDIA. I like this 9 EMA, took 50 pennies off it, kept a piece for the dream. But we know in NVIDIA, we do not sleep for long. We have one eye open at all times. So my eye is open. I initially was going to save a piece for the dream at 952. 953, that feels a little bit optimistic. So I'm being very cognizant of that. I'm watching what we do at 951.50s. If we bounce, maybe we add. If we reject, we get out. So we'll see here, just trying to keep things super tight and condensed and not letting things fly too far away from the sun here at NVIDIA. This was a very labor-intensive analogy, but basically, long story short, we have to babysit this name. I talk about this a lot. NVIDIA and Tesla, if I'm involved in these, there's nary a moment they are not on my chart, because I like to look not just at the chart, but how the book is moving. That's really what matters to me for some of these names, and especially if I trade my ETFs as well. I would actually say I kind of trade ETFs and these mega caps fairly similarly, although I will look at the book almost exclusively when it comes to the ETFs. That would be the main difference, and just use the charts as key levels. But same with NVIDIA and Tesla. If we see a book move a different way, if we see a certain glomming onto or intense rejection of a certain level, that's when I know you have to get in or out, right? So we're gonna have to see here. I'm gonna stop talking. We got out of NVIDIA, so I am out NVIDIA, and I am pleased as punch. We broke above 953, so I guess that dream I had could have come to fruition, but you know what? That's okay. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. Also, the dead one actually kind of stutter stepping to the upside here a little bit. Let's see what we do here, though, at this 171 area, because that was where we had a little bit of a bottom earlier. And when I say bottom, this isn't like massive, right? This is just kind of where we opened at. So I do think what we do here at Apple could be key, but I'm not taking a bite out of the apple just yet. I want to see what we do at 171. I want to see if this 9 EMA stutter step to the upside continues. But shout out to Sharif for taking some profit earlier on Apple. He was Tim Cookin in that trade. So shout out to you. I'm looking for some other opportunities here. Tesla continuing to move up. Amazon, let's look at Amazon. I don't look at Amazon very much, although I think we might have some Amazon reads later, maybe in an hour.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see
on
that, because Obi's always very insightful with his
Bitcoin
Amazon
above 70,000.
Oh!
Yep.
Bitcoin above 70,000.
It's holding above 70 now.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I want to go take a look at Coinamara then after that, but one thing I want to say really quickly with regards to Amazon, I like this VWAP support and then trying to come back above it, right? VWAP could be a support and resistance area. It happens to right now be around that 179.50, so kind of an arbitrary level, but certainly kind of an interesting look here for AMZN, though I am not the Amazonian, so take my read on this with a grain of salt. It looks like also we had a pseudo flat bottom break earlier. We're still up on the day, so not a perfect flat bottom break, mind you, but look at this topping tail candle we have at 180.80, lower highs, bit of a flat bottom here at VWAP, then we swoop to the downside. So if we can't hold this VWAP, I might take this short, but like I said, I have this weird knack specifically with Amazon, there'll be a pattern and I get involved and then the pattern completely reverses, I get out and then it goes back to what it did. So that seems a little bit paranoid, but Amazon brings that out in me. So we'll have to see what we do. I do like this VWAP projection though. Coinbase. That I said that and then just punched it so dramatically. But yeah, Coinbase, interesting look here with this new Bitcoin, not all-time high, sorry, above 70,000. So nice look there. Initially, we did have these higher highs here, and now we're kind of seeing lower low, lower high. I don't have a huge read on this. It is one of those ones that very much behaves at the whim of Mother Bitcoin. So I don't want to make any calls either way. The spread though, 16 pennies. So for a coin, that's actually not a bad spread at all.
Nope.
I do like, we're doing something with this 9 EMA. I'm not quite sure what it is. So I'm gonna take my hands off deck here until I see something I like. My main look though is gonna be continuing playing this consolidation range in NVIDIA. You say consolidation, I say thumbs up. So I like that NVIDIA look, but you have a
Should we show them CONL as well? Because I know a lot of people like NVIDIA, they may not be about that $300 life, right?
Yeah, that's
it's a little expensive, but very similar charts. True?
Really similar charts, yeah, much
Can
like
I show you a
NVIDIA.
trick? Hit page down on your keyboard. No, the button, page down. Right there.
Oh, I'm blind.
Like that?
Thank you.
Okay, so go into this tab over here. Look at this. So this will help you change the one that you had before. No, you had to hit page down. The button.
Oh, right.
Yeah. There you
there
go.
we
So
go.
it goes right into coins. So you
Thank
can
you.
flip between the two. So you can have two up on there. You can switch.
I like that.
Like when you get excited.
So I'm like
Right?
very
Yeah.
technologically not the best.
I gotta tell you, P Pro 8. There's a lot of tips and tricks and
cool.
stuff like that. Shortcut keys. I just wanted to show you that real quick. Yeah. All right. Let's see what we're at here on RDDT. We're about 10 pennies out of the money. We're printing 35s. It's not breaking down, but it's not breaking through that level with the viciousness, as Adira likes to say. And definitely not with that oomph of volume like we've been talking about in the lesson today. So I'm kind of a little bit disappointed in myself in taking the breakout trade rather than the dip trade. I like to pretend that I'm a dip trader. And so, you know, when I pretend that I'm a breakout trader, it often results in not so good results. But we'll see. Maybe we can get something here. I'm keeping my eye on that 52.5 level. If you can make it above 51.50 and hold above there, we're getting everything we need to see here, except the actual move, the higher lows, the consolidation at the top, the up big on the day. So we'll see if we can get this and print on this trade. While I tell you about that, let me tell you about this. 171, excuse me, coming in here on AAPL. So we're calling this one the dead one on the day, but now it is recovering, and it's not going to go green or anything. It's down 0.8%. Owing to multiple negative catalysts. Let's talk about the United States suing them. Now, the European Union wants a piece of the action. So this one, you know, all things considered, not so bad. I mean, the Katina man already mentioned it today. He's like, Apple's already been beat down. You know, how much more can it really be beat down? What can we factor into the price that could really hurt this more? By the way, I didn't mention that they announced today, and by they I mean Apple, are going to launch the Vision Pro in China, I believe, by the end of the year.
Yeah, they
by
said
the end of the year.
2024,
yeah, okay. So that's still a long ways away. We'll have to see how much demand there is there, and we know that there is already trouble in that on that side of the world. So we'll keep eyes on that. Reddit still near the highs, but not breaking down. Now, I didn't tell you guys, sorry, my out on Reddit. So if this one doesn't go my way, the lower low over here, that break of $50.60, that's my line in the sand. Right, so it's not going to be below 51 because the market doesn't care about my out. The market cares about price action that's already printed. So 51.60, that's going to be a new trough. And if it breaks below, sorry, 50.60, 50.60, that'll be a new trough. If it breaks that level, I'm out. So we'll see. Kevy 82, when did you last look at DWAC? Like 10 minutes ago. I know that they're gonna de-SPAC and they're gonna trade under a new ticker, and I think that's like in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think.
Weeks? Say it again. DWAC. It's tomorrow. DJT. Wow, it's tomorrow. DJT. So that's going to be.
Oh, I think I know what those initials are.
Yeah, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah,
Yeah. Donald John Trump.
I thought it was going to be Truth Social and not.
That's how.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up. Thank you so much.
Yeah, pull that up. I can't believe it's DJT, bro. That's
I'm not
so
seeing it coming
on
up
the
yet. Right
nose.
now, I'm seeing something called
Come on,
Daichi
Donald.
Jiu-Jitsu DJTGF. That's the one thing
Okay.
I'm seeing right now. So I don't know if it's. Oh, sorry, DWAC. Sorry, my bad. Thank you, Sean. Sorry, I'm like leaning in way too hard here. Yeah, I'm looking through the story. Oh yeah, merger.
Bring it down
approved.
so everyone can look with you.
Oh yes, I'll pull it down.
bring it
Thank you very
down,
much to Ben Zinga, our sponsor. Check our link out there.
Yes.
To take advantage of that because it's an incredible platform, and I use this all the time. You know, Sharif's always saying as well. You know, Dara always says her Ben Zinga open. That is very true. Let me see here. Yeah, DJT. So this was approved on Friday. First announced 2021. Let me try to see here. But yeah, so DJT is going to be the ticker. NASDAQ DJT. So,
Okay.
oh, zoom it. I like that.
Ramram's done all the work there. She zoomed up a storm.
Killing it. Thank you very much there. According to a SPAC expert here, saying that apparently just shy of 5,000 shares of DWAC were redeemed at the merger vote, and they were cashed out at net value. So little updates here. Yeah, thank you so much to Sean for telling me about that because I didn't know they already had the ticker out there. So DJT, the place to be maybe tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see where as DWAC gets de-SPAC.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm a little upset it's not going to be DWAC anymore, man. There's a lot of nostalgia to go with this name. If anybody's ever watched this show, I mean, I don't have the clip right now, but there was a really interesting clip of a lot of the traders. I'm looking at you, Katina man. You know I'm looking at you. And the Katina man has it. He can find it. It was one of the most exciting times I've seen on this show, and I was a viewer at the time. I wasn't on the floor yet. It was that, I don't know, $100 winner for the Katina man. What was it, bro? Yeah, it was something ridiculous like that. Anyway, so I'm kind of... Yeah, it's just nuts. Kept going up and up and up. Anybody who knows, who's been watching a long time knows exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, a lot of nostalgia is going to go away with that DWAC ticker has gone away. It's been a SPAC for a while, dear. I think a couple of years now. So
No, it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah. It was right after the election, this, that, and the other. Anyway, all right. So Reddit, there we go, baby, through the top. Let's wet our beak here on some profits on RDDT. If it can cross 80s, the spread is a little wide on it, so we may not get the spread. There we go. Nice fill on RDDT. Let this one go. Now we're gonna look now to that 52.20-ish area. So first and foremost, we got to get through 52. Okay. That's a whole dollar level, this, that, and the other. And then if we can get through 52, let's keep tabs on that double top that we put in earlier. Let me move that out of your way. This is the double top to which I'm referring. I think we topped out here at 25 pennies, right? So the initial one was at 20 pennies, the second one at 25, but for all intents and purposes, it is 52.25. Someone thought in the chat before, like years ago, that I said intensive purposes. I'm like, no. I thought that you found that
I think that's funny, one that people often miss here. Like, I feel like that's not the first time.
Intents and purposes, yeah. Yeah, well, I don't think it's that hard, but
yeah. I know what you mean, yeah.
What'd you say, Ram? Intents and purposes? Intensive purposes. They're like completely different meanings. Yeah, she's still like, come on, Ram. Come on, bro.
I love that laugh. That was a great
Ram has
laugh.
like a sick giggle. Anyway, we're on our way, hopefully, to 52 Adara. If we do, I'll wet my beak.
Yeah, no, that's a great look there. Congrats there to Sharif on Reddit. No sweat it for you in Reddit, let me say that. Also, actually not that much sweat for me in Amazon either, which is shocking. I have mentioned my bizarre relationship with Amazon. I don't know why, I'm trying not to have beefs with stocks, but I remember my first day at the time, the midday, someone was asking, what are your biggest trading superstitions? At the time, I had said small cap halts, cough, cough, AXLA. But now I think my answer actually has to be Amazon. I do think, though, however, I got in because I do like these lower highs, lower lows. I liked that VWAP projection at the time. I got involved a little bit early here, just shy of VWAP, and then I added some when I noticed that 179.59 rejection. If we decisively break up into 179.65s and then into 179.70, I will be out. I am not the Amazonian. You will hear from him in about an hour because Opie definitely has a much better understanding of this name than I do. But that being said, I think, I like this general trend to the downside. I'm going to be taking some profits out when we get to that previous low of 179.29. I already have the beak water ready. All the ducks have to do is just bob at the water. So hopefully we will be able to get some stuff out of here at Amazon. When I say hopefully, I don't mean hopium. We do have a general downward trend. I just mean we'll have to wait and see what the stock does. Patient will be important. Oof.
All right, so we're going to have, there's going to be some interesting possible volatility here, Ram. If I can show this headline. Former President Donald J. Trump will be having a news conference at 40 Wall Street. I don't know where that is. Is that at Trump Towers? At 1 p.m. So that is in 3 minutes from now. The reason I tell you this is because it could have effects on DWAC. We know that there's going to be a de-SPACing, this, that, and the other. We just finished talking about it. So 1 p.m. Trump presser. Make sure you've got DWAC loaded up if you want some of the smoke. Anyway, we'll see exactly what we get on this DWAC headline. I'm sitting here at 52 on RDDT. Let's see if we can get printed. I'm seeing 94s now on the ask. We'll have to cross. The spread is opening up. It's 15 pennies now, so it's a little bit wider as we approach that whole dollar level. Not surprised by that as we approach that area of resistance. The areas of illiquidity tend to open up a bit. We'll see, what we get there. There we go. Now we get the fill. Bang through 52 on RDDT. I was just going to read what Adam and Dan, the man Emmons, wrote there. Thanks very much for that, Katina, man. Because Dan is like, the 2-year note auction in 2 minutes. Totally forgot. There's an auction. Let's talk a little bit about that. I think Dan put that in the chat earlier. I'll load up my economic calendar here. Arsenal Adam, Apple hit 171.09. Dude, I should have listened to you. I'll just be the first to admit it. Paper hands is kind of my middle name around here, and I should have let that one run. It was putting in higher lows and higher highs. That's my mistake. So kind of deal with that. Let's talk about this economic calendar, though. So we already had Fed Governors Cook speak. So we have 3 different auctions today. We had 2 already. That took place at 11:30. We had the 3-month and the 6-month. That's done. Now we get the 2-year note. Now anybody who's known anything about the 2-year has known it for its inversion with the 10, with the 30. So the 2-year has been quite elevated as of late, and that's owing to that higher than expected inflation print we got in January and February. I think it's eased off somewhat ever since Papa took the mic last week and dropped hot lines. It's been retracing a little bit. Let me just see. Yeah, so we topped out last week just in front of 4.7, 4.7%. We got this morning to a low of 4.538. Right now, we're essentially at 4.6, 4.597 on the 2-year. That's what the 2-year futures is currently trading at, 4.597, up 1% on the day. We'll find out exactly what happens here. But we got to load up DWAC, baby, because President Trump, former President Trump, is gonna be doing a news conference at 1 o'clock. Ram, if I can show the chart. Right now we're doing the dance with $45. HOD on DWAC though was 47. So I expect some volatility to come in. We'll have to wait and see whether or not this ends up panning out to be what it is. But DWAC's been having a good couple of weeks. Has been moving for a couple of weeks, right?
Been a nice little while here. Yeah. DWAC's been having these nice moves to the upside. So yeah, I mean, I can't believe DWAC is going to de-SPAC. To me, that's wild.
Straight
and
up.
That ticker is, that's an interesting ticker for sure.
Wow,
also,
Reddit. Sorry to interrupt you. No. Reddit just flew up to $53, bro. I just got out at 52. There goes Reddit into 53. Now it's up 15%. We took the whole thing out there in front of 52. That was a mistake. How many times am I going to learn to leave a piece for the dream? Anyway, 53 top there, Adara, as this thing really flew through that 52.25. We were talking about 52.25 being the double top over here and to encounter resistance there. What resistance, dude? We didn't even hold up there. It was one big green candle to the top of there.
I mean, it did look like a resistance level, right?
It did.
Yeah, you had to react to what you saw. The beak was still wet. Yep. You know, the beak still got some dips there, so nice trade, I would say, regardless. Also,
thank you.
So I actually looked at, this is a very nice building. This is 40 Wall Street. I like the architecture of this building. I like the funky little roof, but you were right about it being a Trump building.
It is a Trump building. Yeah, I figured. He's probably going to do it out of his own place.
It makes sense, right? Self-promo. But I think this is a cool building. I just wanted to show the building.
Well, when you put the ticker as DJT, you're going to self-promote.
Makes sense, yeah. Also, Amazon actually not making me regret all my life choices in a shocking twist of fate.
Okay.
This honestly goes to show, you can't have beef with tickers. And that feels very self-explanatory and maybe not something I have to announce. But I have to say, I'm pretty proud I got involved in this. I started this position right around VWAP, and I have to admit, initially it looked kind of dicey, but I said, Adara, you're going to take it out if it goes to 179.65 and breaks above viciously. We never got that viciousness. We held nicely at that 179.59 and rejected, so I added a little bit there. And like I said, we'll be getting some out if we get to 179.29. This isn't a win yet. We're basically flat on the position, so je ne sais pas what's going to happen next, but I will be keeping my eye on it. And I'm honestly, sometimes you just have to be proud. You took a trade and you took a risk. And, we talk about saving pieces for the dreams. Sometimes trades are just motivated by you have a look, you don't know how it's going to go, but you have to trust yourself. So pretty happy with that. I sound a little bit like a motivational speech there, but always a little bit happy when you're able to go outside your comfort zone just a little bit. So happy there with A to the M to the Z to the N. SPY actually still pretty shorty. Shout out to Kyle Burdett telling me about the short opportunities continuing to unveil themselves or reveal themselves here in the SPY. I need to be keeping a better eye on this one. I think with the SPY, though, my timing has just been very bad. And I don't mean that like unobjectively. Objectively, the timing has just been bad, no two ways about it. So I get in, then I get out because we break below, and then it holds. So I just need to be a lot more careful. That being said, I'm not going to completely cast away the idea of a SPY short. It's still on my side chart, but I'm not going to get involved until I have something I really, really like on it. Also, Tesla dipping a little bit here. When I say a little bit, we have a nice fat candle here trying to break below that 173. We had all that consolidation at that 173 top. And then Tesla says, I don't know. Now we're below the 9 EMA, which is a huge area of support earlier. So we're going to have to see what happens there. Really quickly as well, I want to address this. Michelle Hebert, super chat. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Michelle, GME on the daily is rousing around 1550. Previous February to March to February 2022 lows. First profitable year expected on earnings, but lower revenues on store closing. Your GME stuff there, and shout out to you. Thank you so much for the super chat, Michelle Hebert. Yeah, we did have that higher high. I was talking about earlier that 1455 maybe being a top, and GME is like, what are you talking about? Continues to move to the upside, so nice look. Let's look at the daily chart for that 1550 area that is being mentioned. Let's take a look. Yeah, I see what you mean. This is like definitely, we oscillated around this area earlier, and I think that could certainly be an area that we could kind of get above. I think 16 as well. We had that kind of dip into 16. So I think, yeah, let me see. Let me zoom in a little bit more for that 1550 lows. Trying to find this on the chart. But yeah, this is, oh, here we go. February, March 2022. Yeah, there's certainly like a bit of a downward move here, but we have been consolidating there at that bottom for a little bit. And I think, you know, really the only way here for us to go is up, as cliched as that sound. And honestly, it's not true. If we do dip below, I think that 12 is a little bit of a bottom. Look at that massive push up we had November 29th. So I would be definitely cognizant of what we do at 12 should we fall. But if we go up, yeah, that 1550, I mentioned this earlier as well. I think that 1550 kind of interesting. So thank you for pointing out that level. Michelle Hebert, and thank you very much for your super chat. And if you're in GME, hope you're printing. But yeah, I can't believe 1 p.m. We have the lesson to start soon, but we also have other things to deal with, including the DWAC situation and you know, all these markets. So we're going to wait and see what happens here first.
Yeah, Trump is speaking now. Right now, the topic of discussion is that hush money for Stormy Daniels is nothing to do with DWAC, so we're not going to cover that. But if the you know, the focus of the presser ends up being on Digital World Acquisitions or the new ticker DJT as of tomorrow, we'll bring that to you. But currently, Donald making statements right now, but it is not with respect to Digital World Acquisition. Now, Reddit really through 52, through 53, got up there into 53.5 exactly. So HOD, well, not exactly, 48. It got up to 53, 48. That's a high day right now as we try now to hold 53 as a level of support, using it as a nice little move back down. Like I would have expected for us to give up the ghost at 53, to come back in at least to 52.25, 52.33 to retest this double top here and use it as a level of support. Not to be, it looks like on the day, doesn't really matter what I want or what I care, what I think. This one is moving to the beat of its own, marching to the beat of its own drum, looking to take that $0.5 high again. That was a lot of volume that came in there midday. And this is kind of exactly what I was talking about there. Let me just show you exactly what I mean. So on RDDT, like, look, so initially, look at that volume. So the majority of the volume happens early, right? 10:05, that's the big move up. Then there's a big chasm of volume where, you know, the average volume per 5-minute candle drops significantly from around, say, 500,000 to about 100,000 or 200,000. And then it just shoots up yet again, right back into 500,000. So that's what I'm talking about, using volume for confirmation for the breakout. Because that was exactly what we talked about today. It literally was looking for that 52 top, which we knew was going to be that resistance level, 51.5, that resistance level on RDDT to break out on volume, and it exactly did that. So I'm really happy that this actually happened on the day that we're talking about this trade, and it's a trade that I took. So it's good. Yay, karma. Right? So anyway, we'll see what this one does, but awfully strong on the day, and continuing to put it higher highs and higher lows. But be careful for a mean reversion trade and look for maybe 51.5 or 52 to hold up as that level of support. We'll keep eyes on RDDT, but it's not the only one that's going, right? And this one, not as sexy, not as, you know, as parabolic in its movement, but up and to the right nonetheless. Now, you don't have to get in with the same amount of size on grow generations as you would on RDTT. Now, number one, say again, Katina, man. Oh, you're on the phone, okay. So because it's essentially here, it's a $2 stock. The other one's 50 some odd dollars. But the fact of the matter is, this one's done enough volume that you could have gotten several thousand shares and still had liquidity at every level. So this one bounced off that 50 penny area and looked to make like a 10 penny move, right? Which is not exciting, but it is predictable. and valid on the day. MNY, I smack talked MNY on the top of the show, and then it really, put me in my place. Reclaim VWAP in the way that I said these small cap cappers weren't doing lately. It did it. It made me look bad, and I'll take it. You're just never usually right for very long anyway with trading, to be honest with you, Adara.
Yeah, it's a big thing to learn. Yeah.
Right? But what I do like about this is even though it didn't hold the indicators that well, it broke below VWAP. It danced with the 10, sometimes with the 20. So,
He is the money hero.
No.
He is the money hero.
Who?
You're the money hero. Look, you're an MNY.
But this is actually really funny.
That was amazing.
No, but really what I wanted to say is this one flipped and used its previous price action resistance, say 205, 206, as now price action support. So even though it hasn't respected the VWAP, the 10 period, the 20 period, whatever else, it has respected price action resistance as support, because if you looked for that retracement off 235 to get long at 205 or 206, you were rewarded, because it dipped down there and it held it quite well. So we'll see now what it does when it comes back down. It looks like it's coming right back down again. Here comes 212. So we'll see what what is this called again? MNY? The money, what was it?
Money hero.
The money hero, that's it. We'll see what MNY does. DWAC is tanking. Okay, so here we go. So 47 bucks. Here comes 43. This one, yeah, Katina, man. This one is awfully volatile off that 47 top. We're at 40, right back into 44. So DWAC looking here to get quite volatile as the volume picks up a little bit. Keep in mind that this area here, 43 bucks, is that top on DWAC. So we rejected off that 43 top a couple of times. Now could we come back to that level and hold it? Right below 43, not far below, is 42.75, and that's where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. Let's see what DWAC brings.
Yeah, I mean, DWAC right now does kind of look like the tower in which the speech is being given. That 40 Wall Street with a little peak and then that move to the downside. Yeah, once things kind of settle down, we can settle into the lesson. But so much going on in the market right now that we must discuss. Have we seen that bond number? I'm going to look into that.
Oh, good call.
I'm in a mega cap name, and usually those are a little bit more receptive to the bond auctions. I haven't seen any crazy moves in Amazon to suggest anything happening here. But let me look into this. We're making a little bit of a move down here now on some of these NQ names. So this could be what we have. If anyone sees here, let us know. I'm keeping an eye on this. We have the 2-year note. These are all organized. Okay, so yeah, we have not gotten this one yet. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to see which one we have here. Checking these notes. Also, I'm keeping an eye on this DWAC news coming out of Benzinga. I'm not seeing anything yet beyond the announcement that we did have the meeting. Or not the meeting, but he's begun talking. So if I see anything, I will let everybody know. But I'm just trying to find this auction here. Still, bear with me. Apologies here. But yeah, so I mean, right now in terms of trades, I'm still in Amazon. We're still below that 179.65 area, though I'm pretty sure Amazon's going to break above that now here. Okay, here we go. So we have the high yield, 4.595% versus 4.9% previous. So this very 0.005% move up here. So nothing massive here. And then we had the bid note to cover actual 2.62 versus the previous of 2.49. So bid to cover slightly higher than expected. High yields slightly, bid to cover slightly, yeah, they're both slightly higher than expected. My bad there. So both slightly higher. Thank you for tagging me there, Adam DeLuz, with that. Also, I am going to be saying adieu to Amazon because that did not end up going how we thought it would, and I wasn't able to get out of that. That's all good. All good. Where's the next trade, as Obi says, and we will be seeing Obi again and Sean pretty soon in about an hour there. So that was the bond move we did. I think that might have been the reaction, a little bit of a pop up there on some of these names. So we are out of Amazon, no longer swinging from the vines in Amazon, but that's all good. Thank you very much, the Boring Man and Adam DeLuz, for tagging me with that bond auction results. And sorry for the pause there, guys, as I was trying to find those results. But always, shout out to our community, always giving us that info as they see it. So thank you very much. We did get the bond in. A little bit of a pop-up here in some of these mega cap names, including Amazon. So I have Audi. I'm out of that trade.
Okay.
Because we got that number. Nice.
All right, yeah. Big Kyle has been shorting Amazon all day. Big Kyle is telling me that 180 short on AMZN is paid. Let's have a look at what Amazon's been doing on the day. I mean, Amazon looked very directional earlier on. You heard the one, the Canope comment on it, and it's a kind of parabolic move into 181. It went through all the levels. It took Friday's closing print at 178.90. That was gone. And then it took pivot, resistance level 1 at 179. Yeah, I said 178, 178.90, then 179.90, which was pivot level 1. Then look at this, 180.80, resistance level 2 on pivots. They all got taken. But now we're retracing and we're putting in consecutively lower highs. There's that 181 top, and then we have that 180.10 top that I think Big Kyle got short on. And now we're topping out here at 179.80 yet again. So we'll have to make higher highs here for AMZN to kind of pump up. It's trying to stay above the volume weighted average price at the moment, which is hanging out at that $179.50. We'll have to wait and see what this one brings. But, you know, I'm surprised, you know, they're not being sued. You know, there must be something that must irk the government. Come on, can't you sue them as well? There's more money to be taken. Right, let's go. You're going to leave Amazon to make all this money? No, I'm just being a little bitter about. I don't know. I have trouble with this whole. I get they're trying to protect the consumer.
Yeah.
I get all that. I get it. But like, you've never run a company. How do
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I understand. Like, it's like people trying to come at it from a position they don't have much experience about.
Yeah.
It's like two, like one is the company side and the other is the government side, and neither one has any experience running the other.
Very good
You would
point.
assume.
That's a
and so
really
they come
good
at
point.
it from different perspectives.
That's
so,
a very good point.
That's obviously very rudimentary look at it. I have no experience in either as well.
No, but
I
you're
have never
speaking
been
sense. You're
Lena
speaking
Kahn, and I
sense,
have
yeah.
never been Andy Jaffe or
Jassy, yeah.
Sorry, I knew I
It's
was
all
wrong
the same
there.
thing, yeah.
Jassy.
Yeah,
I knew it was
pretty
like
close.
2 consonants and then an EY, but I was wrong about the consonant. So, yeah, there we go. But I see. I think it's an interesting point for sure. And there's a lot of different ways you can look at it.
171 break on AAPL. I know you want to start the lesson. Just want to say real quick here, 171 and a third HOD on AAPL coming into the 200 period on the 5.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for that. So now if there are any interruptions, we shall interrupt the lesson with any news there, because I know we do still have Donald Trump speaking about potentially with some DWALK related news there at 40 Wall Street. So we will absolutely let you guys know if there is anything. But right now, we'll be talking about support and resistance breakouts. Have you ever felt stuck in traffic only to burst free onto a clear highway? This is maybe an analogy that rings a little bit more true with Sharif, who drives, as compared to myself, who does not. But you know, I'm still in traffic, and I still understand.
We all have been.
You know, the quagmire and the annoyance that can be. So certainly a situation that can be similar as well to how support and resistance breakouts work in the trading world. One example was actually that Reddit trade that Sharif had earlier, killed it on Reddit. Some people were mentioning earlier as well in the chat that was a good example of support and resistance, and kind of how frustrating it can be to try to drive through that resistance and continuing to see that roadblock.
Good point.
And then you can break out into the highway and it's all clear sailing from there. So let's buckle up and learn how to identify these potential turning points in the market in the wild. So first, how do we understand support and resistance? It's kind of like a tug of war between buyers, who are going to be the bulls, and sellers, who are going to be the bears. And support is the price level where the buyers tend to step in, pushing the price back up, and resistance is where the sellers and the bears say, nah, this is where they're going to try to take profits and drive the price back down. These levels create zones on a price chart. And here are some examples. So I have this one too. This is not labeled. This is just kind of a straight up example of how support and resistance can flip. So we have this earlier area of resistance here and support. Then we break up above, and then we find resistance and go back to support where we had previous resistance. So interesting look there. This one as well shows that we had some support at the 460 level of whatever chart this is. Then we come back and see some resistance around the 580 level. So it shows a range over a larger period of time. Just kind of some visual examples to show what's what in the charts, and some examples in the wild, because this is a phenomena that we talk about for a reason. They do happen. Let's talk about spotting a breakout, though. A breakout's going to occur when the price decisively moves with a viciousness through either support or resistance. A bullish breakout is going to see the price close above resistance, indicating buyers are winning the tug of war and potentially signaling a price increase. But conversely, a bearish breakout is going to be like, the price is going to close below support, which suggests that sellers are in the mix, they're gaining control, and the price might go down to the downside. Here's an example of a bullish breakout. So we have some resistance here at the 65 level in this chart. Then we kind of come to break above it in July, and then we actually, again, shows another example of resistance becoming support. We test this again, coming back into September as support, and then continue to go to the upside. So this is one example of a bullish breakout above previous areas of support of resistance. What about a bearish breakout? Never fear. Here's another example. Shout out to Investopedia, which is where I got both of those charts.
Bang.
We had this support here at an uptrend. Then we go fly below support. We find it as resistance, and then we go back to the downside with the viciousness. So here's one example, and it also shows too, this is going to be more of a flat channel, this bullish breakout example, but this bearish breakout was actually, we were in an uptrend, and then we had a reversal. So, you know, try to switch it up and show that no two breakouts are going to look alike, just like no two snowflakes are going to look alike. Just because you see one thing doesn't mean that's the be-all and end-all of a breakout. So make sure, we're going to talk about this as we get to the end of the lesson as well, but make sure that you're not just looking for one or two things. Make sure you have the entire picture, the entire tapestry, or the balance of the evidence, as Sri would say. Also make your move with caution. Breakouts can be really powerful signals, but false breakouts exist too. So you might see a price flirt with a level, say, oh, hi, buy me a drink, and then reverse. So you want to make sure that you're being skeptical within reason. What things you're going to be looking for? Volume confirmation. You want to see a surge in trading volume alongside the breakout. High volume will suggest a little bit more oomph, a bit more conviction to the price move. Also, candle confirmation. You want to see a daily or weekly candle close clearly above resistance, bullish, or below support in a bearish situation. So here's one example of a breakout with small volume on this old AMD chart. We had this range here in between 50 and 57. We kind of la-di-da with average volume. Then we see this big massive volume candle, and we push up with the viciousness here out of this range in AMD. So here's an example of a candle of volume, showing some oomph to the upside and showing that this breakout is for realsies, for lack of a better term. Entering and exiting is also something important to keep in mind. Once you have your confirmed breakout, how do you want to play it? So for entries, some traders might enter right after the breakout, and others are going to be waiting for a pullback where the price briefly revisits the broken level before continuing its move. So that might be an example if you're in a long, if you're looking to go long, you break above previous resistance, and then you test it as support. That could be your entry, par exemple, but it's going to really depend on the trader and the specific situation. Not advice, just some things that you might be looking for on the chart to make your move. Stop losses are also going to be really important for exits, because you always want to make sure you place your stop loss order to limit potential losses. For breakouts, consider placing it below the broken support in a bullish situation or above the broken resistance in a bearish trend. Profit targets are also something you want to keep in mind, because taking profits is just as important as entering. That's why we talk about B quotas. You want to make sure you clinch the profits so that you have something to show for the trade. Look for potential resistance levels above bullish breakout support levels below in a bearish breakout to lock in some gains and make sure you have some profit for the journey. You also want to remember, though, breakouts are signals and not guarantees. Do your research, do your due diligence, look at the balance of the evidence, manage your risk, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. Also, bonus tip, make sure you're exploring other technical indicators alongside support and resistance for a balanced trading diet and a more comprehensive trading strategy. Also, thank you to Eddie R for the shout out with the puns. Much appreciated. Pun Day Monday, maybe, I don't know. But also, yeah, shout out for everybody here as well in the chat. Also, Sean has posted a tweet. Oh, it's a poll. So are you buying the new DJT D-Walk? And also you can see his walk, talk, and stalk in the snow. So,
you did a walk and talk today? That was.
Oh, I'm missing the second tweet? Oh yeah, DWAC will D-SPAC into GJT. Thank you very much for that. That ends up being a pun there from Sean. So much appreciated. And thank you, Ramin, for pointing that one out. So there we go. I'm happy it got out of Amazon before we went into that lesson. Let's see what we do at 180. If we fail 180, I might try to short this again, but I'm not the Amazonian. You'll see him in about 37 minutes. I am not the Amazonian. I'm just someone who occasionally dabbles in the Amazon trades. So there we go. We're going to have to see what happens tomorrow with DJT / FKA, formerly known as DWAC. And we're going to have to see right now what happens with Amazon at this 180. What have you been looking at?
I have been looking at DWAC. Perfect segue there, Darryl, because I was yelling to the Katina man when he got up that DWAC was tanking, and it was. We touched almost 47, I think 46.99, 46.98, and we tanked all the way down to 43, but with the same viciousness that we retraced $7, now we've retraced higher 3, right back up to 46. But look at what we did at 46 earlier. You cannot convince me that 46 was not a resistance level, even if we broke into 47. Look how many touches we have at 46. This is 46 level. Look how many topping tail candles all wick into 46 and end up rejecting off that level before we ended up making it into 47. So I really want to see exactly what we do at 46 at these levels. And whether or not we break it and hold it, right? Or whether we retrace again. So DWAC, we'll keep eyes on that one. Trump is still talking. He's still talking up a storm, and it's still, about non-DWAC things, okay? I'm looking at the closed captioning. I'm also looking at the headline. He is still speaking, but it is not DWAC related. It doesn't matter. I mean, let's be real about it. This DWAC could move on a non-DWAC related headline coming out of Trump. So I've got that on the side here, and we'll keep tabs on that. And if anything happens, obviously we'll bring that to you. So let's see what else is popping off here. GME getting another, let's call this a third win. It's not a second win. This is a third win over here. Here was the first win, that big pop up. The second win was a retracement off that 14 low. And then we dipped into 1460, and we're trying to make our way back up into 1490, maybe to take 15. So it's been consecutively higher lows and higher highs for GME as we anticipate earnings tomorrow. Some people speculating they'll be profitable. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, one of those companies that a lot of eyes will be on, not for its importance to the overall market, but because it's a name that we all know. 1482 trading at right now, 8 pennies off the high at 1490. GME having itself a day, 13.13% as I looked at it.
Double 13?
Yeah, not right now, 13.05. There we go, it was back down. All right, so keeping tabs on that. Okay, Trump is done talking, so he's off air now. We'll see if DWAC reacts in any sort of way. Nothing done. Still holding at 46. Let's see what else is moving here. MNY, the money, whatever thing, money hero. Sorry, I have really bad memory.
It's okay.
Especially
it's
compared to you because you have that eidetic memory. You make me look a little bad, not gonna lie. Yeah,
this one.
Now Adara's mocking me.
I wasn't trying to mock.
I thought you were actually mocking me.
Oh, I really wasn't trying to.
Yeah, I know. That's not really your move. You're not a mocking or a sarcastic person.
That's the thing. But then because I don't know the tone, sometimes I'll say things and then people will think I'm mocking or sarcastic, and then that gets me into whole.
No, I know you're not sarcastic because that we've kind of established, you and I, right? But I didn't know that you were.
I wasn't trying to mock.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's all good. I take it around here. You know how it is.
Yes.
That's what happens when you trade Lee Auto around here. You have to grow thick skin. I'm looking at you, Katina, man. Shout out to you. No. In all seriousness, MNY back into 2 and back at the VWAP at the volume weighted average price. So, we talked about this one having that support level at $2 owing to that top that we originally put in before we broke it here at 10 to noon or right at noon. But right there again. So if you're looking for a small cap gapper above the volume weighted average price and with a catalyst and up nicely on the day, this is up 52%. So nothing to sneeze at here. I'll look possibly for an entry on this. My line in the sand is going to have to be 2. So if I get long here, it's going to be a tight stop. It breaks 2 by a penny or 2, and I'm out. So at VWAP, at the $2 level, this could be an interesting entry opportunity on MNY. RDDT, it looks as if those shorts that the Katina man hooked me up with are going to go unused because this thing keeps heading higher. 53.69 HOD, 53.75 now HOD. Here comes 54. Okay, every time I say a new high a day, it prints a new higher day. So as you can see now, 80s now HOD. It's on its way to $54. It has been, there it goes, man. 89s now HOD. I don't know where the top on this is going to be. I'm likely not going to take a mean reversion trade on this because, well, you'll have to stand in front of a freight train. It's up 17 and almost 0.25%. Yeah, it's been very strong, Adara, quite frankly. Let's look at the future real quick. We've been kind of, I don't want to say, doing nothing on the future, but in all seriousness here, we've been in between 18.5, and even higher than 18.5. Let's be real about it. For the majority of the morning and the afternoon, we've been above 18.5. In fact, it's been 18.510 as the low. The highest there is 50. So we've been ranging 40 to 50 points the majority of the morning on the NQ June contract. Okay, not something we're typically used to on here. Usually we get some moves one way or another, but the future is very sideways on the day. So nothing for me to do here, but this looks like a Nader Panera trade. I got to tell you the truth. Oof. I know I don't want to tell you what to do, but this looks awfully rangy with 50 to the top and the 100-point level to the bottom. Not even the 100-point level. We said the 10s. All right, there goes Reddit again into 54s. 53.99 now HOD on RDDT. Let's see what it does. Does it break through the whole dollar area without, an encumbrance here, or do we get trouble at the whole dollar area? Reddit continuing to go, baby. Coinbase, nothing really to say there. Let's flip back to big tech and see what we're up to. Apple, 170, 150 high. Okay, Apple, I see you. That's $2 off the bottom. Okay, Apple. What EU probe? 169.45, low of day, 171.47 HOD. To go green on the day, it's got to get to 172.25. I don't know. I have trouble believing we'll do that, but that's only 75 pennies off the high. So possible. TSLA finding a little bit of trouble at that 173 area, kind of curling back above that local high. I want to say 173 is the local high. Obviously, HOD on the day is 175.25, but now putting in sequentially lower highs and lower lows as it does that rounded top at 173 bucks. Keep your eye on VWAP at around 171.75. You could find some support at the volume weighted average price if it makes its way down there. TSLA doing things. What else is moving? One thing we didn't talk about today, well, I didn't talk about it, Micron. What? Oh. We talked about it quickly at the top of the show, and then Obi was like, admiring the chart there from his seat. MU, guys, wow. 8% on the day. This was looking to go higher again. It was much higher than 8%, let's be real. Look at that top there, 121.41. Now we're at 119.20, and we're up 8%. So Micron absolutely pumping to the high side there on... Was there a headline on Micron today?
You're like recent earnings. They had earnings last week.
I bet you anything it was in the opposite move to Intel and AMD because they got flagged. Yeah, well, actually, Micron makes RAM, though. What the hell do they have to do with microprocessors, right? They make DRAM and stuff. So, okay, I'm not really sure why Micron is moving up. Anyway, this is the headline. Micron leads chips higher as sector shakes off Intel AMD worries. That's a headline from Seeking Alpha. Nothing specific with Micron, though. Posted impressive results. Obviously, we know that last week. It was an earnings winner. So probably, some bigger money positioning into this name as, Michael Noss, he gave me a really good explanation for why we have these names run after earnings. So obviously, people are positioning into it, but it's a bit more nuanced than that. So Michael Noss used to work for a hedge fund as a trader, and he was telling me that these hedge funds, they have buying and selling committees, right? So when new earnings are posted or a catalyst comes out specific to a company, these buying committees meet, they discuss what their next course of action is going to be, whether they're going to get into a stock, add to it, take some off, whatever. The decision is made once the new information is digested. And so in the days subsequent to earnings, we often see price action. And that's what it is. That's what I would think it is anyway. Bigger money positioning into this name. Keep your eye on 120 because we're at 179.5. So if we make it back into that 120 range, I'll want to see if we encounter resistance at that $10 level. We already have a 120, 141 high, but we'll keep eyes on that as well. NVIDIA off the bottom, $10. That is off the bottom. It dipped there into 947, 946 and change. Now it's above 957, reclaiming the volume weighted average price and taking out that 5 a.m. high for whatever reason that we had at 955. Let's see if that level is even important. It came into play multiple times today. I am hesitant to use such an early print on NVIDIA as a level off which to base a chart, but for whatever reason, 955 has come into play multiple times, both as a top and as a bottom. You use it here as a bottom, and here you're using it as a top. So 955, keep your eye on that. That could be an interesting level owing to some of the pre-market action there. That's really it. That's all I have at the moment. And we'll see. Oh, yeah. New high day Reddit, 54.40. Unreal.
Woo.
Unreal. I screwed up that trade big time. I should have been holding, but whatever. All good. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the QQQs to the downside. I did like that range you pointed out. If someone says range in front of me, I want to pull up that chart. So I do like this rejection of that 445.73. I watched it a couple times. We rejected. I got involved again. Did we get the price point, best price point ever? No, but you know what? I'm not unhappy with it. We're going to be taking some out here around this 445.40 area. Look at this chop and turn earlier, some resistance, some local resistance. So I think that could be an area to de-risk just a skosh. Then I'm going to be eyeing the big whale around 445. I don't know why I called it that, but I do like that 445 support. I think I do not want to be there beyond 445. I know I don't want to be there beyond 445. I say that confidently. You know what I also say confidently is we took another L in Amazon, but that's okay. It's just about planning the trades. I got involved here. We pushed above that earlier area of resistance, that 180.10, and I had to say sayonara to Amazon. I had to return my express delivered package to Amazon there. So I am not the Amazonian. I cannot wait to hear his insights about Amazon because this is not a stock that I can even say I'm mildly proficient in. I don't trade it very much, but we know Obi knows Amazon like the back of his hand. So cannot wait to hear what kind of insights he has on that and some other trades. I know he was involved in Nike earlier as well. Sean was giving you some great trades in the morning as well, some AMD and coin shorts. We're gonna have to see how those all materialize. I guess I'm just hyping the afternoon show, but I am, so definitely check that out. Also, speaking of stuff that was moving in the morning, Boeing rejecting VWAP in a way that I find a little delectable. I don't love that choice of word, but look at this earlier area that kind of is around where VWAP is. I was talking about that 190, 166 ad nauseum this morning. Then we come back, we reject. Oh, I'm going to get involved. We're going to stop talking and we're going to do what we say and we're going to punch.
Nice.
So let's see. This might be ill-fated, and also the spread about 6 pennies, so I might not even get filled. But the point is that we're trying. As Yoda says, there's no try, there is only do. But in this case, punching is the first step. So we made the punch. Let's see if we can take the plunge, which is actually a really bad pun to make in Boeing, I just realized, into this. That was a little, honestly, that was a Freudian.
I think it was great.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I realized
great.
after, I was like. But yeah, we're going to have to see what happens here. I like that we're coiling down here off that VWAP projection, and I want to take it into 191.20s. So let's see what we get. SPY, or the Q is continuing to curl down for a cool 5 penny winner thus far. Let's see if we curl further. I think Boeing is taking off without me here, jumping the landing. We're going to have to wait and see. Got a couple trades working. Let's see how they go.
All right. Yeah, just looking at Apple. And, it's retracing back into that 171.25, looking here to see if this might be an interesting entry because we had a bit of a top for whatever reason at 171 and a fifth. Like, this is what I'm talking about over here. Couldn't break through that level. Then we broke it and we come back into it. Do we hold this 171.20, 171.25, thereabouts? I don't want to punch Apple long at the highs, guys, when it has a negative catalyst, but that's what the look is today. I mean, we had a nice trade on Apple, got that 170.10 long. We wet our beak into 170.63 or whatever, and it went another $1. So that's just the way it is. That's kind of been the theme of the day for me. Reddit long goes several dollars, Apple long goes another $1, and that's the way it is. Let's see what else we got over here. DWAC calls, says Kwame. Okay, all right. Well, that's de-SPACing tomorrow, so just make sure that those are, I don't know if there is 0 DTE, because what happens when you have calls on a SPAC that de-SPACs? Does it roll over to the new ticker? I have no idea. Don't trade options. We'll have to ask somebody that knows. If anybody in the chat knows, tell me, because I have no idea. What else happened? What else is going on here? Drive EVTL says Virage, if Microsoft comes back to 422, that's not a good thing, says Trader Forever. Finch James says Palantir needs to get back to $27. All these names we actually haven't looked at the day, but that's interesting. Good. They roll over, says Tim Smith. Okay, I didn't actually know that. So if you have calls on a SPAC and it de-SPACs, they roll over. That makes sense. That's good. So we'll keep eyes on that. Micron rejecting that 119.50 that we were looking at earlier. Let's bring Micron back in here. Definitely still at the highs, but curling off a little bit there at this level, 119.50, now coming back down to 119. If it comes into 118, look how many times it dipped off 118 here in the afternoon, and that was a level of resistance prior to that. So we had that resistance here, it flips to support. How many times can we say that on one of these names? So Micron, great day, obviously off the highs, but we'll look for something possibly on MU. What else? What else we got? Let's keep looking over here. Let's go to some of these small cap gappers. Okay, so Grow Generations looked like it was going to break down below that $0.50 level. I got to tell you, weed today on the day is essentially mostly red except for Grow Generations. Yes, it is. So Grow Generation is a secular name today on the day. Now, I know this one has its own catalyst, but you got Tilray down 7%. You've got MSOS, the ETF, down 3 2/3. MSOX, the levered ETF, 7%. CGC, which had a hell of a day on Friday, 17 1/3%. So every name except GRWG in my weed watch list is red on the day. And GRWG now is 2 pennies off high a day, Ram. As it printed 266 earlier, it's at 264 right now. This thing cannot break below VWAP if it tried. And the one time it did, it was met with aggressive buying below that. What level was that? Was it right at 250? When it broke below VWAP, VWAP was at 251. It bounced off 250. That's the lowest it's been since around, 11:30. So going on 2 hours and 10 minutes here for GRWG. Great look on the day. In case you're wondering what the hell is going on, it's a share buyback program. So Grow Generation rises 12%, a lot higher now. After a launch of share buyback program, they're going to spend about $6 million USD to buy back its shares. Obviously, that's not that much for us who know about Apple's $50 billion share buyback program. What's 6 million? But obviously, it's proportionate to the size of the company. That goes without saying. So we'll keep eyes on GRWG. Could be a nice play tomorrow. With weed seemingly back in focus here. Let's flip back to big tech. What do we got? Your Amazon is breaking out of that range. So the Amazonian just sat down. I see him out of the corner of my eye. So he'll opine on that coming up. But it's breaking through that previous top that we put in. That was at 180.10. And then now we're doing the dance here at 180 1/4. I got to tell you, a bit of a vacuum from the price we're trading at right now versus that top at 181. So if we squeeze here, keep your eye on that higher highs and higher lows, as well as the corresponding volume that may come with that price ascent. I'm not telling you to look for volume this size. Again, we finished talking about how the volume charts on the intraday look like, that big volume on the market on open, and that big volume on that market on close. Those are specific to that type of trades. And then there's a big chasm in between where there's much less volume. But that doesn't mean we can't discern anything from that. With that lesser volume, there are degrees, much lower and much, or a little bit higher. So that's what we're looking for there. If we start printing higher volumes on that break through the top, keep your eye on the volume as confirmation. It's at 180 1/4 now. We'll see exactly where it gets to. Apple making its way back into HOD. HOD's at 47s. We're printing 44s. So Apple continually making higher highs and higher lows. It looks at least poised to maybe touch 72, 172 that is, by maybe end of day. And if it really gets gangster, it's going to break above that 172 1/4. That'll take it back into Greensville. And that's where the institutional prints took us this morning at 8 a.m. A lot of, conspiracy theories, but these 8 a.m. institutional prints over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
spicy one.
Right? Yeah, I've heard so many different conspiracy theories, but I'm not going to echo them now. But anyway, that's the high end of the range there. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good.
How'd the writing competition go? You didn't tell us anything about that.
It went. I don't know how it went. Yeah, you don't find out usually for like a couple months. But generally, my approach is always for these, because you write them in a short period of time, is just to kind of try to make myself forget about it, not have any preconceived notions, and then we see what we see. So that's how I'm trying to take it. And then I spent a good portion of yesterday napping.
Okay.
for a long time, but we got some groceries done, so a little bit of productivity. What about you?
Good, but you didn't nap too much because I know you don't like that.
No, so we, it was like generally more than I would have wanted to, but because I feel like I didn't sleep as much on this Saturday,
Oh, fair.
I feel like it balanced out. Like I didn't feel as gross as I could have. So for me, after napping, we'll take that as a W. You got relative wins.
That's good.
Yeah.
I got some stuff for the trip because
Yes.
I'm leaving on Friday for my safari, right? So to Kenya. I'm super excited about that. Like, yeah, brother, thank you.
How long are you going for?
I'm going for like just 8 days, but because I couldn't get too much time off. But yeah, I got like a thing. Yeah, you know, I look like a tourist. But no, I'm not doing it, Ram. Ram wants me to bring it in tomorrow. I got hiking boots. I got like long sleeve breathable sweaters because I don't want to get bitten by mosquitoes, but you also want to be able to breathe because it's really hot, obviously, so you don't want to sweat up a storm. I got the fisherman's hat with the net on it. Yeah, it's a whole thing, yeah. And I had to buy a whole bunch of masks, which I hate ever since COVID, but when you're around gorillas, you have to wear the mask because you don't want to pass off human diseases to very...
That vulnerable...
they're really vulnerable. Beat down species. And you don't want to show them your teeth. I didn't actually think about that. Nobody told me anything about that, Obi. That's actually a good point. Yeah. You're not supposed to make, what? What'd you say, Josh? Josh, joker, bro. Go back to bed, says Breckles. No, in all seriousness, though, you're not supposed to stare them in the eye as well. There's a whole, like, list of things that they tell you to do and don't with these gorillas, but I'm so excited. I can't wait to take pictures and show you all. But yeah, that's what I did on the weekend, buy a whole bunch of stuff. So
that's exciting. I cannot wait to see all the pics from the trip once it happens. And it's also funny too because of Ramin basically saying she wants some kind of like outfit of the day type photo shoot here with the safari gear, but that will not be in the car.
Hideous with the new clothing.
I'm
You're
sure
not supposed to look good, though. I mean, I don't know if this is really fashion-centric here.
Vogue,
Rather than functional, you know what I mean? But that's it. I can't tell you how excited I am. This has been like my dream to see these animals in IRL. Like, really has been my dream.
That's awesome. So, I know you've talked about it like a while, so that's so exciting.
I've let everybody hear it. People are probably sick of hearing it from me, but yeah, excited about that. What's the chat up to? Dan Emmons, the sheriff of Kenya. Yeah, right, Dan. Shout out to you, my man. Aaron Scott Matthews, Sharif is going to look for the great white bat. I don't know what that is, dude. We'll meet the lion. Yes, we are going. We are going to go on the Serengeti on days 3 and 4. We will see the lions and the wildebeest and the buffalo and stuff like that. Pumped about that. There's a car that takes us. 420 Bud Monster. A family member of mine lives in Kenya, beautiful place. Where are you headed over there? Well, obviously just landing at the capital, but then a car is taking us to the actual safari place. I forget the name of the town. It's really small. I got it in the itinerary. I'll share that with you guys tomorrow. Sebastian with the gorillas. Yes, the gorillas. That's like why I'm going there. Adam, make sure to arm wrestle the gorilla and win. Dude, they will rip off your you-know-what. You know that, Adam. Big Kyle wants an elephant steak. Oh, I'm not bringing you anything back, Kyle. Definitely not elephant. Come on, Kyle. You won't need the head net for Mosey's. Not that bad. Nice. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Thanks to Piper. Yeah, so we'll see exactly what we get, and yeah, we'll have more pictures and stuff to show when we get back.
That's so exciting. Yeah. Also, I have to mention this fantastic comment from
for
TLO Enterprises. Going to see the real-life GME AMC 8.
Yes, exactly.
So always bringing it back there. Shout out there to you, TLO Enterprises. I saw that and I had to call it out. Yeah. People are really excited for you. I'm very excited for you. I'm pleased as punch for you.
Ooh.
And I think it will be, a really exciting trip. Cannot wait to hear and see all about it after the fact. Obviously after the fact, because Sharif will be in Kenya. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I was in this QQQ short, got out. I'm pretty proud, honestly, of the risk management here, I have to say. We broke above that 80 area. I got out, and then we have this massive pop back to the upside. Also, I did add to the position because for a while there we were rejecting, as you can kind of see at the top of this candle. And then the QQ was like, nah, Dara, you've overstayed your welcome, and flew to the upside. But I'm happy I got out where I did. That's what matters. Try to learn with risk management. And honestly, I have to say, my biggest thing right now is trying to mitigate the losses. And I would say, like, I think, right now we are agreeing on the day. Granted, some of that was the NVIDIA fat finger kerfuffle. But, I don't want to give that fat finger kerfuffle all the credit because we did have a successful trade all up in there before we ended up fat fingering for some more profit. So pretty happy with how this day went, and honestly very proud of myself for trying to take smaller losses and bigger W's, or as 21 Savage might say, take less L's, make more M's.
You know who's making a lot of M's right now? Whoever went long DWAC. Ooh. Dang, son. 31.5, or was a second ago, % on the day. This thing just blew through 48. 48.5, baby. HOD on DWAC. The Trump man is done talking, and it looks as if once he stopped talking, the stock went to the high side. It's at basically up $3.50 since he was done. We were talking about this one at 45 when he was talking. Now it's at $48.5. So DWAC, and the thing is, what's funny is I had a line on my side chart over here at 43 bucks, and I'm not exactly sure why I have that. I think I had it from Friday because it came into 43 and it rejected. So I put that line there for an interesting short. Then I found out how much the shorts were and I didn't get them. But that 43, keep these lines on, guys, because they come into play again. That 43 ended up coming in perfectly today. Look at that dip, that candle right at 1:10 p.m. goes right into 43, gets bought right back up. It's $5.50 off that low. And that 43 is not just a good level from Friday. No, it showed you its propensity to come in again today. At 11:10 p.m., we shot up into that 43 only to reject as well. The IB high there was a little bit off 43, 42.5 on that IB high. So there's a lot pointing to that level being in play today. And I didn't have this level for these. I had it for this over here. That's Friday's crest. So anyway, 48.5 high of day right now on DWAC, 31% to the good as this one continues to print to the high side. Obviously, I'll be keeping my eye on 50. If it makes its way up to 50 bucks, I expect resistance at least intraday on DWAC. But who knows? Who knows exactly where we get or what the price will be once it de-SPACs. This one is set to de-SPAC tomorrow. It's going to go by ticker DJT. If you know exactly what that is, tag me in the chat. It's a little on the nose, but whatever.
Just a bit. Just a skosh.
I wouldn't expect any different, Adara.
No.
No, I wouldn't. Anyway, Grow Generations on the way up yet again. High a day. Everything in weed world going south. Grow Generations going north. GRWG, $2.70. It hasn't been this high all day. It's buying back its shares to the tune of $6 million, and that's precipitated a nice up move. But if you can see, Friday's price action also was quite bullish. We opened up the day south of $2, and by the time the closing bell came around, we were at 2.25. Now 2.25 in the distant memory. Now we're printing 2 3/4, baby, as this one is up another 21% on the day. About 8 minutes left on the show. Excuse me. Before Sean and Obi take over, in case you are just joining us, Neil is in Florida. He'll be on vacation until the end of this week, and we will we'll see him next week, but I won't be here.
Yeah, because you will be on your safari. Woo, pump it for the safari
baby.
there.
I love how you changed it up for like mid-pump there.
Yeah.
Like pump it, pamp it.
Pamp.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I can't say it right. Definitely check out our Instagram and social media if you want to see the video where that all began, because I inadvertently altered the way that Sharif says his pamp. For forever. But yeah, so anywho, the SPY also.
Adara, I have to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Oh, please do.
DWAC is coming into $50, guys. Here comes $50. 49.78 on DWAC. DWAC is flying. It is now up 34.5%. 4% higher than when I just finished talking 10 seconds ago. Look for a rejection off 50. Sorry to interrupt you, Adara, but that came in awfully quick.
No, that's okay. That's like massive. Definitely worth the interruption there. I took about 5 pennies off the SPY. I was just kind of looking at, again, trying to use less chart levels, more charts as my guide, and books as my action moments. So I was watching here. We took about like less than 10 pennies on it. It was just super scalpy. But also, RVSN, someone here asking about RVSN Market Sniper, best guess on the potential upside. So you know what, we're here not to give advice, but just kind of to look at the chart. And this one, RVSN is certainly, it hasn't seen a day. I know, I'm assuming you're looking back on this one, because I know RVSN had massive moves up in the past. Remember when this one was a runner, Rail Vision had catalyst after catalyst after catalyst. Also, apparently, I've drawn lines on it in the past. We'll delete those. Yeah, honestly, it's a little bit hard to say Market Sniper. This one was hard to know. This was one that a lot of people were talking about buying and holding because it was a small cap gapper that just kept small cap gapping. And then it fell. So yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that you got swept up in this. I wish I had a guess in terms of upside, but I want to be really honest. It's a little bit harder to tell with these names unless they have a catalyst. So I really can't go and say any levels. What I can do is look at the chart. I think this 335 is kind of interesting. And I say that because that was that earlier pop. That would be the next high for us to climb above. Then we have this 575 area that we had a little bit of chop and turn earlier, both around Valentine's Day here, February 14th, and then earlier as well in mid-January. But honestly, I have to be really honest with you, market trader. This is a really tough one. I can't. Honestly, I would say a lot of these will depend on some kind of catalyst happening, because as you can see today, under 400,000 shares, we're not going to get a lot of volume when they don't have a catalyst. But I really, we don't want to do hopium here. We want to stay off the hopium, but I do hope for your sake there is some kind of nice catalyst.
I mean, why would we
Real
not
Vision really loves having those catalysts at all times. So knowing Real Vision, they could come up with some other rail thing tomorrow, right? But I have to be honest with you. I think on a technical basis, it's a little bit tricky with the small cap gappers. I hope that helps on some level. But I also
50, Katina, man. Yes. What about Reddit? Reddit, it's at 54.80, but it's retracing into 54 now. And can I add a little bit on that RVSN?
Yeah,
look, we don't
do.
want to make an example out of anybody. That is not what we're trying to do here. But I really want to take this opportunity to say, that if you're going to hold these small cap gappers overnight, you really need to have your line in the sand drawn. These are not companies like the S&P companies. These are like S&P companies for the most part, not always. They're solid companies with a good foundation, a history of earnings, a lot of analyst eyes that can look at. Now, whatever you make of that's fine. You can question the analyst motives, say that they're trying to push the price down, maybe to buy more, whatever, okay? The point is, we don't know what these small cap gappers are going to do from one day to the next. They could have a good day, and they could have 20 bad ones. So if you're going to swing these, use a stop, use a hard stop, and if it triggers, let it go. I mean, it sucks to take the loss, but I've just seen so many small cap gappers, and Derek probably can echo this as well, that go all the way up and then they literally come all the way down, and they'll stay at that down until they have another catalyst, exactly like Dara said, and then they'll pop right back up. So we never know from one day to the next what the hell these small cap gappers are going to do, and that's why, as a general rule, I only trade them intraday. And that's what I want to point out there. But I don't mean to point anybody out or try to make anybody feel bad about themselves. I just felt maybe it was an interesting opportunity to explain that. So I want to point that out. Now, DWAC finding some resistance, as we probably guessed, off that $50 level. It didn't get to 50 bucks, okay? It got to 49.89. Coming back down now into that 49 whole dollar level. It doesn't have to make it all the way into 50 bucks or thereabouts, and nor does it have to reject off 50. So let the price action dictate. If that means missing some of the move, that means missing some of the move. I don't know what the hell it's going to do here. I don't know if it's going to reject off 50 or break 50. So if I punch in here, it's a 50-50 shot, right? That may not be bad odds for you. If you like 50-50 shots, go for it, right? But I want to see confirmation, number one, that it rejects 50 or takes 50, and then maybe we'll get in one way or another. But yeah, great move on DWAC. De-SPACing tomorrow. Trump was on the mic today dropping hot lines, and it pumped after he got off. We have 2 minutes left on the show. So any other final thoughts you guys have, throw it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to let Adair close it off.
Yeah, this is what a day. This was really fun. I have to say, it always makes you feel like okay-ish about yourself when I have to say Tesla and Nvidia are my top names of the day. So I'm a little bit happy with that. Still wish that that I couldn't didn't have that fat finger moment in NVIDIA, but we did take some positive trades on it either way. So, just trying to learn a little bit, try to grow, and try not to be too hard on myself. So I hope everyone can kind of take that message in some way as well. You take your W's, you take your L's, and you take it all, in the balance of the evidence to assess your trading. And I think that's something pretty important here. I want to pull up NVIDIA because 881188 saying NVIDIA testing at 960, and indeed it is. We're trying to break back above that 960. This 960 area was kind of fun earlier. I was certainly, dipping my toe into that area, both on the short side and the long side. So I think we'll have to see what we do at 960. But of course, with everything, do your due diligence, and certainly with NVIDIA, you want to make sure you check your list. Write your list, check it twice, find out who's not at your NYSE. Because when NVIDIA Santa Claus comes to town, that can be a disaster. So, trying to be, in all seriousness though, be very careful. I want to see, I'm just going to watch in the book what NVIDIA does at 960. I do not trade after midday, so we'll have to
Can we mention NVDL as well?
Yes.
By the way, guys, NVDL, if you want to trade NVIDIA long, Ram, NVDS, if you want to go short, Adaris chart, and NVDX. If I don't know what that one is, I think it's like 2 times levered. No, it's a Darius chart that she's pulling it up on. That's fine. All right, I'll send it to you. I think we have like 30 seconds left.
Yep. So definitely all of the NVDA derivatives. Shout out to Sharif for trading those. They can be very awesome to use. Although NVDX gets a little bit less volume than the other two, to be honest. But certainly, thank you guys for all of your volume and participation in the chat. We'll see you tomorrow with more breakouts and everything, but we're not going to see you right yet. We're going to see you tomorrow, right? So we're still here a little bit longer. Shout out to Jeremy Newman. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls, but also shout out to Brendan at the big desk. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
See you guys.
Uh, 2 o'clock on Monday afternoon here. Let's get into the final 2 hours of a Monday afternoon session here that's turning into a pretty